day in 45, you will be our silent eye. Come seek us out. We will be there to give them reckoning. Oh, you shall wait at the city gates. You shall guide their way. You shall hear their coming steps. Hear our malice. For every soul they took away.
Alright. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Penn State League, where tonight, back over to CSL coverage with PSU Blue versus VCU Black. Once again, I'm Infamous Trash, joined here by the old classic competitive Penn State casting duo, Soccer Wars. How have you been, sir?
I've been doing quite well. I'm looking forward to unwinding after I did some preseason changes and going back to good old Season 11 League of Legends with classic bans on the side of VCU after the rise of Misfortune really at Worlds, even though she did get sort of a minor nerf, still pretty good. Viego did receive a lot of buffs towards his crit side, and the Yuumi, as we all know, Yuumi is inherently frustrating.
Yep.
And I believe the Penn State sides are probably more targeted bans. We don't really see Talia at all. Trust me, I know that. And then Zoe and Aatrox are also, they're always viable, but they're not must-pick, I'd say. And you all saw the exact draft order. This is just the in-client champion select, so there wasn't anything funny like Ornn first picks. Well, that they're just picking for themselves.
Yeah, the R5 Ornn, definitely something you don't expect from a tank top laner. Normally you
But
try
I
to pick
feel
those
like
away early when they're good.
when you're looking at a team with something like Jinx, Seraphine, at that point you're just like, yeah, we're going all in for late game at this point. Might as well put the Ornn on top of it. Get those ornaments in there for the big hyper carry and the enchanters being very valuable. Especially when the other team also has an enchanter, because you're not really under the threat of getting all in at level 2 and level 3 by something like a Leona or a Nautilus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, still tools to punish early against these scaling bot lanes. Jinx did get that compensation buff this patch, so it's something to watch out for, but doesn't really fix a lot of her problems.
Dangerous.
Yeah, doesn't really fix a lot of her problems. Still fairly weak in the laning phase. Overall, needs a lot of time to get online. And one thing that Vice Lele can do on Lee Sin is pressure those early diving goals. I mean, we saw it in the C9 Gen G series, if any of you were watching. Clid putting on some clinical performances on the champion with kicks. So does have quite a bit of an ability to get on these immobile carries. It's definitely something that Vale is...
Jersey and cry.
Yeah,
no,
definitely something Vale's going to need to watch out for.
Lee Sin is a very making champion, especially, like you said, against something like a Jinx and a Seraphine who they can't really escape. The best they can do is just sit there and try to auto attack you down, win you when the Lee Sin gets on close range. And doesn't really look like, unless the junglers decide to pay some visits to the bot lane, unless there's some insane 2v2 action coming out from Aphelios, Lulu, or Jinx Seraphine, it's basically going to be up to the junglers to decide where they want to play this game out to. Because you look at Shen and Ornn in the top lane, and you're like, wow, if I go to this lane, I can accomplish a grand total of absolutely nothing. Shen's always going to be able to hit level 6 by the time anything fun can happen around bot lane, so putting him behind isn't going to do much, and you can't put behind Ornn. He's still going to hit those levels, he's still going to be able to be a big, giant tank. And then, if you look to mid lane, well, we all know what Victor can do once he gets his Hex Core and he hits level 7. He just presses laser on the wave, can snap that right off, and then hide out in Fog of War and, like, roam around with Lee Sin, arguably, even, and try to catch Trundle out. And Echo can basically do the same exact thing, hit level 7. If they do take Dematerializer, it becomes a lot easier for the Q to just completely one-shot the caster minions, and then you use your third passive auto to kill the melee minions, and then once again you dip into Fog of War, roam around with Trundle, see if you can get anything. So all this to say, pay attention to this Lee Sin versus Trundle matchup in the jungle, because wherever they decide to put their focus to is where all of the action is going to end up happening.
I mean, definitely in the early game for sure. One thing I do want to put out is once this game gets going, it becomes a very interesting dynamic when we get to team fighting. Of course, neither of these teams pro. We are at the amateur collegiate level of play, so we're not expecting perfection from either side. And one thing that comes down to is you don't see a lot of the split push. You don't see a lot of the 1-3-1 comms, and you see these let's group up and duke it out in the old classic objective fight. We have two different kind of deals here. We have a very tanky lineup on the side of Penn State Blue, featuring the Ornn and the Trundle, while Trundle does build bruise items, becomes extraordinarily tanky, especially once he gets a subjugate off in team fights. And really most of your damage from Penn State is going to be coming from the Echo, from the Jinx, these two big carries. And one of the issues they might run into when we start getting into these large team fights is on the side of VCU. You have a kind of protect the carry comp. You have a Lulu, you have a Victor who's really good at zone control, as well as the Shen with the Stand United. It is going to be so hard to get a Ray mate out of these fights through a shield bow, through a Lulu, through the Wild Growth, through the Shen ultimate, like all these combining factors.
Yeah.
It's going to be so difficult. So you really do have like a 1v9 scenario possible for a Ray mate on the side of VCU, and Penn State needs to be super careful about that. And I mean, the same thing goes for Victor, just a little bit less so because he doesn't have that shield bow. Even still, when you only have two damage sources and one of them is more of a burst assassin, it is very hard for Penn State to really burst some of these carries down, especially from a behind standpoint. So we're really looking for this game. See Luniverse, see Vale, get some early gold, get some good team fighting as we get into game one of our little best of 3 here. Penn State Blue makes the playoffs with a win here tonight. So definitely a big game for them.
Anyway, you were talking about Penn State only really having 2 big damage deals, and Shen on the side of VCU can actually impact that a lot. If he ults in and gets the W, while all of Jinx's damage is gone, you can't get the auto attacks there. And even Echo with his E and then trying to proc the passive, if he misses his Q and hopefully people don't stand all in the Echo Ghost. It's a lot of damage mitigation for a very low cost.
Absolutely.
I believe Lulu just barely saw them. Definitely saw the ward. And courtesy ward from VCU goes over to the enemy red buff as well. And yeah, pretty standard stuff really from everyone.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, we do have the heal ignite in the bot lane for PSU compared to the heal and exhaust.
I think it's more the point where exhaust really doesn't do much for you on the Penn State side this game, and especially in the laning phase.
Seraphine is ridiculously strong with like a double cast Q if you're below the health threshold. It can do a lot of damage. And also double cast E can also do a lot, so they're probably banking on just that random damage that Seraphine can contribute.
Yeah, Raymate not going to be baited out just yet here. He's possibly looking for that double E.
There, recognizing that you see that Trundle and Ornn are starting on the red buff thanks to that little ward, so you're like, I wonder where the enemy bot lane could be. It's just little things that you can sit and think and be like, oh yeah, no, they're probably just waiting to cheese me in this bush. So let's not let them do that.
Indeed. Trading going about even both sides, of course, Remate should be just fine. Has Avelios, the nice thing about his kit and how Riot did design him is you do just get the best laning guns. As top lane, a little scuffle here, going with the level 2 hit for McLeahy.
Really good angling on the Q to get the sword pass through and get the bonus damage.
And despite priority, level 2 also in the bot lane hit first for VCU Black. You get a very nice trade here onto Vale and Ruck. And so far, laning going in the favor of VCU. Of course, the mid lane, something to be interested in is Victor does have quite a potent early laning phase. You can see some of that Q damage poke coming in onto the side of Luniverse.
And now, I'm not going to purport myself as an Aphelios master or anything, but something I like to see is that when you get around to like 15 or so ammo on your sniper rifle, I'd like to see them just use up all the red so that way you can get the gravity gun and potentially stop something like a Trundle gank coming in.
Pillar finds a Raymate coming in. Back gets a Q, but Vice is here, does not find the Sonic Wave as Vale is exhausted. Gets chunked down a bit here, but with a good counter gank through the lane.
From Hidden Bow as well to sort of tag Vale right at the end, as really heads up play from Lee Sin to recognize that, okay, Trundle He's probably not going to be ganking top lane because it's done into Ornn. He's also really can't gank mid lane because Victor has phase rush and it's not a very powerful Echo. And he just walks back down to the bot lane and counter ganks. And all it costs is an exhaust. While realistically, you not want to have to use anything after that. Using up the exhaust is pretty worth it to stay alive. Especially without needing a flash on anybody there.
Yep, absolutely. There's now just some general trading across the map, nothing too major.
Yeah.
Waiting on a lot of breakpoints to come in through. Really, for both teams in the early game, still waiting on first backs in bot lane. Junglers going for their respective traps. Actually, will be a true crab for Vice off that bot lane play. Poonsung and company not in a position to contest, so big lead in the jungle for the side of VCU to kick this one off. And Ruck possibly picked. There comes the root. The Ignite's down, and it's going to be first blood to Penn State. The aggressive summon spell up the right way to go. It's hidden bow now getting taken low. Vale finds a slow with the W. Ruck going forward, but it's a trade kill as the Lulu gets one. Now trade TP's coming in from mid and both mids. Yeah, Ludiverse here as well. Thought it was the Ornn at first, but Vale going to go low. Stun on the gravity well. Finds two. Stun not going to land from Ludiverse.
He has no mana.
As now the shields come out. Neon, no mana on the Ludiverse, knows he can trade aggressively. This flashing forward, grabs the E, doesn't have a favorite Q. One more tackle to it, but he can't get close enough. The speed boost is there, and Neon grabs the second kill. It's a disaster for Penn State. Needs going low, has to flash Sonic Wave top as well. Oh. Man. You hate to see that if you're a Penn State fan. All four summoners blown in the bot lane. It looked like a pick initially on a Ruck, turns it back around, and once the double TPs came in, just a little overextended. Didn't have the damage to kill the Lulu.
And then, really well played from Hidden Bow there, sort of flashing up and being like, oh, Jinx, you want to chase me? You want to kill the low HP Lulu? Come on. Forces Vale to also flash. It lets the Victor teleport come through, and then the combo of gravity and the polymorph keeps Lulu alive through all of that. And the sort of consequence of an Echo being the melee champion compared to Victor range is that Echo does need to spend a bit more mana to wave clear in the mid lane. And Victor can teleport down there with basically enough mana to do anything because you're not level 6. You don't need to waste 100 on it of your ultimate. And yeah. Results in a pretty good win all around for VCU Black, with Victor already having his book and his
flash
gear.
Forward, Ruck gonna be into the root again. Stun comes through as a Staining Knight comes out, and the play was set up, but a little mistime as McLeite couldn't find the follow-up stun with the Shadow Stash. Now, good pillar into root. The stun comes through, but can they grab the kill? Vice coming in to peel his 80 carry. Sonic Wave hits, looking for it, but doesn't have that level 6, doesn't have the ability. Great block as well on the Q by Ruck to make sure his jungler survives. It will be a margin of inches in the bot lane for both sides, as everyone just going to walk away without further incident.
Back to the play from a Raymate. They're flashing in with Infernum and Gravitum to get the free root and extra damage from your Infernum Q. And it's a miracle no one died to that.
Ludiverse in trouble here. Has popped the ultimate, and that should give him some time. Going in as well as a teleport coming in from NACE just to make sure nothing fishy happens.
Yeah.
It will be enough to defuse the situation.
Really good play, both from Universe and Vic on the Lee Sin, sort of being like, oh, you gotta ult eventually, Echo, and Luniverse correctly predicts that you should ult when the Lee Sin's gonna Q you, because then you can't get the execute damage if he just like Q like flash kick and then insta gives you before you can even cast the ultimate. And we do see a slightly larger than 1,000 gold lead in favor of VCU Black, but realistically, it's not that big of a deal because they were way too low to get something like the first dragon and start stacking that earlier, and Victor, despite being able to push out the lanes very well, can't really roam around the map that well, especially when you look at the side lanes. It's like, oh, sure, Victor, just roam up to kill the Ornn. That'll never happen unless you
Yep.
bring the whole team. And then
And
also in
now,
bot lane, you'd really only want to do that when you have your jungler with you.
Blue team has slain the
But
dragon.
as we were talking about, Lee Sin solo's Infernal Dragon, so that will be stack number 1 on the side of VCU Black.
needs getting trade on here as well. Leche doing his job as maybe just the trade of maps here. Knows Lee Sin's bot. Doesn't necessarily have the mid pressure to rotate down, so we'll just do this Rift Herald as his bot lane getting set up for a dive here. They know Vice is there. Control Ward just gonna try to curtail them underneath here. Has the kick, so can do some pretty fun stuff. Does get chunked down to half before the fight can really kick off though. Raymade also tanking a lot of tower shots. This
okay.
dive pretty much gonna result in the zoning of the wave. Tower plating as there comes the pretty massive healing off of the Severum ultimate. And with that, it looks like VCU going to be content with the plate, going to be content with the XP and CS denial on Vale.
I'd still consider that a big win for PSU because Vale realistically missed a few minions at best, and then you burn Aphelios ulti on Severum because he unfortunately tanked a few too many turret shots to set up the dive, and you lost a lot of map pressure off of that because you know that Trundle's going to be taking Heraldless, so it's like, okay, we got
Ooh, Neon maybe caught out here in mid. Has the parallel convergence, does get the stun, has to use the ultimate to get out though, as there comes Stand United, Flash, Taunt, connect, and Vice. Couldn't find it bot lane, grabs it over in mid instead. And that is the problem with making plays toward this middle lane or toward any lane other than top for Penn State, is you have to be aware of Shen's ability to get in there.
Yeah, really looked good at the very start because you see Victor walking through a control warded bush. In between a Trundle and an Echo, you can sort of combo the pillar and parallel convergence, try to force Victor flash, or even just get him to phase rush, run away, and then Echo gets free save the lane. But you always gotta remember the Shen timer. Shen's always gonna be looking for something like that.
And without that timer, gonna pop the Rip Child here down in bot lane, just try to get some plating gold here for Penn State. I wanted to get that third plate, unfortunately. Did not have the damage. So we'll just be the 2, still some money in the bank. Always good to see that used before those plates expire.
And it's also realistically in the one lane where the gold
Oh, needs
matter.
top lane. Looking for the kill, can't find the call of the Forge God. And that will be just the pause.
But
A summoner has disconnected.
Okay, then I'll... Alright, production has informed me we are a little ahead, so I will chill.
But with Neats up there in the top lane, he did Summoner Spellbook his way over onto the Ignite, and as we all know that Ornn's the tanky bruiser, DPS, mage, assassin, wizard, etc., etc. And he could have easily killed the Shen if he landed that Call of the Forge God. But looks like everything is going to be returning to its natural state here in League of Legends.
Yep, should be getting back to normal here as pause. Hopefully off. We're getting that awesome spectator bug where nothing works for a few seconds. After a pause. This is
Don't you love to see it?
This is the new specialty that we've been seeing with the outstanding spectator client. So there we go. Back.
My
in
favorite one was
business.
still when the spectator would crash when the team won the game. That was
It
my
still does that
favorite.
from time to time. That's not necessarily fixed.
Okay. But yeah, now things are sort of returning to normal. Mid laners still just going to be pushing out waves. Bot lanes are basically going to be looking for anything they can realistically get if the junglers show up. And top laners are still just going to punch around at each other and be like, hey, you get low. No, you get low. Oh, I have TP advantage because I'm Shen and I've got TP and an ulti.
Certainly.
And really good stop on the Echo back from Vice. Just sort of letting Victor walk his way back to lane by the time the wave comes. And it forces Luniverse to stay when Victor's already got a Mythic available to him. Which And his tier is basically over halfway stacked, so he's going to be feeling very powerful within the next 10 minutes or so.
Absolutely. Ignite Burn top lane by
Oof.
Neath getting rid of that spellbook before it expires. Might as well get some true damage down. I think most of that actually taken by the passive shield, so...
Echoing back to the good old days of the old runes where if your Ignite's off cooldown, you get extra AD. It's a good time. As I will say... Oh. Dive. Perhaps happening?
No, it's sniffed out. Sniffed out. I mean, Wave still has to crash here.
Yep.
You do still have
But Victor is
all
on his
summoners.
way.
With Victor, it might be a little bit different.
Well, this is the priority you get when you get free push in mid lane. You can just push this Echo under turret and then sit in Fog of War and be like, "Who? Where'd the Victor go? Is he going to dive to the bot lane? Is he just walking toward the jungle? Where is he?" And you can't really tell because if you end up face checking, then you're potentially getting caught out as well as...
Yeah, Penn State
This
Blue
is
looking to fight.
very interesting. This
It's going to
is
be the 5v5
a
Dragon.
big flank if Luniverse doesn't get caught out, which he does.
Yeah, Vice sniffs
But
it
it
out.
does
They were
force-
suspicious of the Echo.
It forced them to back up a bit from the Drake,
Yep.
and Jinx has her mythic.
Oh, and here
Aphelios
comes
does
Call of
not.
Forge. Got looking to start it off. Root comes down. Finds two on the backside. Those aren't the targets. There comes the Encore. Grabs one. Top laner down immediately as Leechy can't fight at all. Poonsung in the middle. Wild Grip buying so much time. A Raymate cannot die. Gets one, gets two. Still kicking his knees. Finally takes it now, but Vice now looking onto Vale, who's trying to kite away. Unfortunately, Lee Sin's still around. Lunaverse, though, full HP in the backline. Should mean this is a very
Good
deadly
dodge.
Sin.
Good ward hop away from the wall there.
And a very messy, scattered fight. And oh, it's not ended yet. It's Vice.
It
Oh,
ain't
he
over.
And he thought they were starting the dragon. Unfortunately, there's an assassin mid laner waiting in the midst. And that will be an
Okay.
ace at 14 minutes for Penn State. First dragon of the game for them. Oh no, TP coming behind. We're still
It's
getting
not
smashed
over.
in.
We're
There
not
comes
done.
Nason.
Oh,
Has
the
Stay
shadow.
United finds the taunt. The knockup though still connected. Neats goes down. Shut down over to the side of McLeche as now Ruff coming back in. Ludiverse has no mana. Has to get away, and now the dragon. Thank you for the leash. It was all a bait, my friends. You can take that
Extended
gold
leash.
and do it. Take that gold and do what you want with it, but we will be taking the objective.
That was a wild fight, and it really started out with Shen getting a bit caught out by walking too far forward, but his W, it prevents Jinx because his entire team's standing behind him outside of the Jinx auto range, and he can just put the W down and be like, yeah, auto attack me with your Kraken Slayer, Jinx, see if I care. And then big Victor damage because he was just barely over the wall in such a place where he can get his Chaos Storm onto Vale, and it forces Vale to sit out basically that entire fight, and it's a miracle that Penn State managed to ace that as they did.
Good root on to two. Finds a combo as Vice
Yeah,
ward hopping to his ally
and
into some skill shots. Does
luckily,
divert the dive.
everybody, every person except for the supports do have access to their own mythics. So, realistically, that was probably Penn State's best time to try to play that fight. And they did win the fight by all means. They just weren't expecting the Victor and Shen.
And looks like they're not expecting their Trojan. Either stolen away! Vice finds a smite! Putin didn't have it up as Lunaverse trying to find the one shot on the backline. Does find the support. Killing spree for the Echo as he
That was a lot of
tries to run back away. Yeah, does have the burst on the support still. But the objective once again secured by VCU. Vice Lelele comes in with the smite key.
He just walked up and smote it.
Yep, that's all you need.
Yeah, and that's sort of
Putin, I
the
think
thing.
had it up as well, so that's just a reaction diff.
That's something you can do because, again, I've been talking about the mid priority you get with Victor a lot, and especially when Victor gets 2 free kills teleporting to bot lane, you're sort of forced to always play on the back foot in mid lane if you're this Echo. Because you can't really go up and try to force to kill the Victor because you never know if you're going to get a channel onto that Victor, or if Lee Sin, or if the support is roaming up. And you're constantly forced to play on the back foot without mid prio, and despite it technically being a flank because everyone was already there before Luniverse could show up, it really only results in a kill for the support.
Oh, now he's looking for the solo kill that you so vehemently denies. It's a curse. This needs fails to stop the back. Neon does get out scot-free.
Okay, well, the
So,
reason
disengaged.
Luniverse did that is because there was a Seraphine waiting in the wings there. So he's like, even if there's someone else here, I do have a Seraphine, and Seraphine is very powerful with champions like Echo because of the big shielding and the healing you can get. But
Oh, Luniverse. Doesn't have
Like
kill
I
pressure
said.
here. That's very strong, Aphelios.
But the thing about that is that that solo kill was timed at such a point where Victor didn't have flash, but Shen had ulti. So the Shen ulti can save him. Next time if something like that happens, which I doubt it will because it looks like we're initiating the everyone go to different lanes part of the game, Victor could have had flash and wouldn't have needed the Shen and could just burn that to get out. But looks like now Penn State has put their bot lane in the mid lane, hopes probably to try to crack that turret. As the Victor is now in the top lane, and that's really smart because what wave clear is Ornn going to do that won't result in getting massively poked down by this Leandries already?
Yeah, hard for the Ornn lane here. Good lane assignments coming out from VCU. Just trying to keep on this up. Of course, Neon also
Victor
having the
is
teleport
getting-
back up just about now, so can't get to any fights that come up. As well as in 6 seconds for that Ocean Drake. Does put VCU on soul point, so expecting
Echo
Penn State,
is
especially after last
walking
one, to
up
fight
here,
this
though,
one.
so Nan might get caught out here.
They're
No
still
call
up, he's
before
okay.
shot. Good little blue trinket that happened to be there, calling out the Victor. Because
Yep.
it was looking really close for Neeks. He could have easily died to the Victor combo if he was staying a bit more without the assistance of the Luniverse. As Harold
True
gets put
indeed.
down mid lane, Aphelios has the perfect guns to take down an objective if he can get in range, but they probably won't even need it.
Nope. Just creating pressure here for this Ocean
Jelly
Dragon.
takes it
15
down.
seconds. On the
And-
Drake.
If being Ocean Dragon here is insanely dangerous. Because not only will you have the Enchanter to help the Aphelios along with the Shield Bow, he'll also have some Ocean Drakes under himself, and if Penn State can't win this fight, they're going to have to fight for the soul, and it looks like they will.
There, yeah, there's go
But-
for it as that is a very unfortunate
Bit
teleport.
of,
Oopsie.
bit
Neon
of a
coming in a little
question mark
bit too hot.
ping, I'd say.
Great timing on Ruck to find the double E for the
Yeah.
kill. Goes over to Vale as
And
well, so gold into him.
Does lose Victor his teleport, but he did it around the time that Dragon was happening anyway, so he could just, he'll probably have it back up for the Ocean Soul fight.
Yep, it'll be pretty close. I mean, you could always stall it out if you really
Yeah.
need to, but
You
either
have
way,
Lulu, you
McLeach's
can
still,
stall anything.
yeah, still is Shen. Still is going to be able to get to these fights, no problem. If they do need
Yeah.
someone to answer Ornn in the side lane, Shen doesn't necessarily continue to lose his matchup. It's tanks, man. No one's really dying.
No, we're just going to be hanging out until they get their big items.
Yep. Even still, after all that,
And-
only 1,000 gold lead over the side of VCUB, so has been about the
Alright.
same since that team fight ace
Speaking
5
of
minutes prior.
these tanks, do I know what I would like to see from the Shen?
What would you
I'd
like
like
to
to see
see?
him buy Anathema's Chain, put it onto Luniverse, and then just stack armor.
This is probably the build. This
Because
is
that way,
I don't know if you stack armor. Abyssal Mask here. You have a Seraphine who's gonna deal some damage.
yeah,
Ornn is mostly magic damage. Oh, but Neon might be finding him in some magic damage areas himself as Poonsung also here. Gravity Well comes down, but it's just a formality at this point. Subjugation claims that kill, no problem.
yeah. And it looks like VCU Black is getting caught a bit lazy on sending their solo
Oh,
lane.
speaking of which, Ruck. Oh, it doesn't take the Sonic
Everyone was
Wave.
already top lane. If you go in there on Lee Sin, you're basically saying, hey, come kill me, please.
Yeah, possible one-shot angle. You never know.
I hesitate to think that Gore Drinker Lee Sin would be able to do that to Seraphine through a potential double casted shield when you consider that everyone else is already around there anyway, but I mean, it could have happened. But yeah, if PSU can keep catching out Nayun on this Victor like that, there goes a lot of your potential plays in the side lanes, because they already took down the top lane, and if Victor keeps dying like that against a 3-man squad consisting of Trundle, Echo, and Seraphim, Trundle and Echo do a lot of damage to turrets, and they might just split push themselves and take down some extra stuff.
Very true. Either way, Pensate looking
Ew.
again here on device. Parallel convergence. Connect.
Really
Stun
good.
goes through. Root as well. Nowhere for Vice to go. And Ruck, the beneficiary, as a Ray mate, does flash away. Great onslaught out of the backline. Ruck. That was beautiful, sir. And Penn State get 4 in the blink of an eye. Dragon wasn't even up for 2 minutes, and everyone's
Oh
up
no,
outside
Victor!
river.
Okay, he flashed.
Possibly the bear. Oh, flash over from Neitz. He gets us on the knockup, but the gravity well is down. So this might be a
And
little bit,
phase rush.
a little bit over eager as Neon. Perfectly safe, so Neitz just kind of burning his HP as well as Summer Cells. Does burn mid flash though, so
That was...
call it worth in the end if you want. But either way,
You
Penn
blink
State
and
out
you
of
miss it.
nowhere. 4 kills, mid flash, and a basically free Baron to boot, and now they're in the head. Once this Baron falls by around 2,000 gold, just shy. Biggest lead we've seen so far this game, and now it is a different matchup coming
That
into an
basically
Ocean Soul
confirms
Point.
that they're gonna have the priority. They can push out the lanes, get their priority in, and take the soul and stop VCU Black from getting hit. That was quite literally a blink and you miss it. It started out with just a nice innocent catch onto Lee Sin, and then the over-the-wall encore from Rook landing on both
Through the
Aphelios
ally to extend the range into try
and
brush.
Lulu.
Oh, as we might see another pick here. Slow comes through. That means it's going to be a root on device from Ruck. Forces out the Dragon's kick.
Punches the Trundle away. It's like, no, stay away. I don't want to die again.
It is a big cooldown blown as well. Lee Sin, playmaking ultimate, going to be down for the Ocean Drake's
Yeah.
act. Should be up just about. It's CDR. I forget about CDR. Is pretty good at this point in the game.
Okay. Neat
gonna be the
was
siege onto the
really
bot lane for
looking
one.
for the victor there, but
Yeah,
luckily
Aphelios
he's
is
got a
not in the
team.
area. Neon in trouble, left alone, stunned up, taken down. 45 seconds left on his side. There's mid lane.
Found Aphelios.
Aphelios does have Stay United, so Ludiverse needs to get out. Does just burn the ult to grab away, but that's another big cooldown blown
That
for the side
might
of
just
VCUB.
be inhib turret, because Aphelios and Shen are all the way up halfway through topside river. Lulu and Lee Sin aren't wave clearing against Baron here. There's no shot. If I'm Penn State, I am backing out right now and being like, hey, come meet us at the Drake pit. We'll win another fight there.
Yeah, and even before they get this Drake, Penn State already kind of thinking it's secured. They push in this bottom side, grab
Kind
the...
of questionable Ornn decision making,
Tier 3.
upgrading the Divine Thunderer on the Trundle as
Yeah,
opposed to say
little-
Kraken Slayer.
little questionable on that one, we'll agree. Or the Proto Belt,
Look,
either or.
But the Divine Thunderer upgrade becomes, I believe it's Deicide, and that is just the coolest name ever.
It's still Divine Thunder
It,
for the time
oh.
being.
It looks like it's upgraded.
It does look like it's upgraded, you are correct. The upgrade symbol is certainly there. Oh.
Okay.
Great pillar burn splash from a Ray mate, not really sure what he was doing there.
He tried to steal red buff and then got caught doing the lazy walk.
I see.
Or more realistically, Trundle forced Aphelios to get caught out there with the Trundle pillar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Penn State, great use of the Baron thus far. Should be wearing off here in just a little bit, but you get the tier 3 bot lane, you get some turrets mid lane, get some turrets bot, as well as making sure that Soul does not go over to
Yep.
VCU, does not give him a way back into this game. And now, I mean, you go from VCU kind of having the lead in tempo in the game with just a 1k gold lead to Penn State now sporting a 5k gold lead
Yeah.
going into 26 minutes.
And a lot of it just really comes from a bit of messy rotations, like Victor getting caught out a few times in the split push, and then the Lee Sin getting caught and that little like blue buff choke area leading to the big team wipe into the Baron, and Penn State are just playing the map better. Who cares if they were down 3 Drakes? That's their comfort zone. but now
The comfort zone.
the comfort zone of potentially giving
Jeez.
up Ocean Soul. Come on, everyone knows it.
Yay. Either way, Petsec gonna look to push down this top lane, tier 2. Doesn't have Baron up, so Siege will be certainly a little bit hard, but plenty of wave clear now with Veil having pretty high damage. Rock at this point in the game, Ruck as well. Good wave clear at range.
Does have the
Seraphine is
Kensec
making more build.
Putrefier.
Yep, big item. I mean, does have a lot of the power, I think, comes more from the shielding aspect on the side of VCUB. You have Shen ulti. Lulu, of course, is mostly a shield-based champion.
Yeah.
Does have Moonstone to heal as well, but you really hurt Aphelios and Lee Sin with that, so
Yeah.
does still provide a lot of
You
value. Just
never
not as high
know
as
when
it looks.
Aphelios is just gonna press R with Severum and then boom, all his health is back. You can never really know.
True.
But this
Yeah,
mostly
Putrefier is
just
definitely
seems like formalities going around the map until the Baron spawns, and then Penn State are gonna be like, you can either fight us and lose, or we'll take the Baron for free and then run down your base. Up to you guys. As Ludiverse has a death cap, by the way.
Oh, stun does find its way onto the Lulu. Hidden bow a little bit too far inside that hitbox. Tried to straddle the edge of it, but instead gets stunned up. And with that stun means the full CC combo comes through. And that will be a big pick onto VCU. Gonna allow Penn State to completely push through this topside jungle
Ludiverse is
without
level
on any
16
vision.
with a death cap, by the way. That is
Yeah, he is 10 stack
very
Magi's.
insane.
Well, or no, Magi's. Should be a Magi's at this point, probably, but
He's got the wedding ring. He
Dark
hasn't
Steel.
had the anniversary yet.
nope. But yeah, Penn State gonna push in here with Ruck, get all this vision cleared out of top side. Make sure that they have full control. Did miss a controller back then in the
Oof.
last push. Haven't pushed that yet. So actually a pretty big flank ward if
If
Miglici
they're
or
feeling up
Dayon really
for it.
want to go for it. Yeah.
They could do the
That's a
Victor
very
into
deep
Shen
flank
again.
ward.
They could try that out, but Vale is like, I believe Vale might have been able to see at least a
No.
little teleport animation. If they
Maybe either
decided
way,
to do it.
Vision's gonna stick. Just I think Ruck. No. No, they did find it. Yeah, they did find it. Okay, we're good. Control ward cleared now.
Control
It is-
ward successfully destroyed.
It is VCU
As-
gets to push in here and take back the vision a bit, so Penn State's gonna need to go reclaim
Yeah,
that
but-
as we have Ocean Drake spawning in 115. Probably not the most likely scenario.
The problem is they didn't take any of the vision that mattered. They just got it back in their own jungle when the Baron's spawning within mere seconds, and they don't see anything in that river. They'll see the little icon of the Baron spawn on the minimap, but that's it. They can't really face check that much. Because even though you do have the Shen who's very tanky, the Echo can just kill him out with the Nashers and the upgraded rocket belt there, and Shen doesn't have any MR. Aside
but
from
it
what he
is-
gets from the Sunfire, but
Once the stealth ward gets cleared out here by Poonsung and Ruck, can be very,
Looks
very
like-
dark map, as you guys can see.
Penn State,
mean, they have-
unless Observer are trolling us and they're just doing Baron without their jungler, which I highly doubt.
No, they're not. They're not. They're
Okay.
not.
They were just baiting in that brush.
Yep, because they knew these guys would go for
Oh.
they knew VCU would go for the trade. They have that soul
Oh.
point potential. And State.
But now VCU are on the complete wrong side of the map for them.
Indeed.
Because
we do-
realistically, you'd want to trade Baron for the soul, but they can't, and so Penn State just waffles back. It's like, no, we're definitely going to take this, but we pushed in mid lane, so you guys can't do Baron. Aphelios has awful guns to do Baron, and Victor could DPS it pretty well, but then he runs out of all of his mana for the fight, and really patient and well played from PSU on that one.
Yep, clear out some wards on Baron here, and it looks like it will just be the reset so far. Again, Dragon really doesn't give anything to Penn State at this point. Penn State Blue not really benefiting from these oceans until they're just kind of denying that soul, denying the objective win for the side of VCU that can let them back in this game, start getting them some gold back, or at least stats which would convert into a gold lead had there be actual gold and items purchased with them. So
Yeah.
you're denying that advantage to them. You're continuing to gain more pressure on the map, and then setting up for this eventual yet to feel Baron take. Now, that's not to say that VCU can't come here and fight
There's
this
always
one
a
out.
miracle. We've seen plenty of miracles in League
I mean,
of
you have a
Legends.
3-item Aphelios. It's not much
Within
of a
the past
miracle, if we're
month.
going to be honest. You have 3-item Aphelios, 3-item Victor. You have that Void Staff inventory
I'd
as well as
say-
Stopwatch.
I'd say something being predicted 200 years ago is a miracle for the
Yeah.
3-item Aphelios to just
I'll say
wipe
it's
team.
definitely definitely far from losable as Ludiverse looking for the 80 carry.
What a
Big damage, but
pillar.
they're going to back out. Encore does find two. Charm comes through, but a Raymate's still alive. Ludiverse finally goes godlike and killing the victim. Didn't even use the stopwatch. Shutdown does come forward on a ruck, but can't do much with it.
Yeah,
Ludiverse
no
still good for
damage
two on a
left.
McLeish. Yep, it's just an absolute slaughter. The flank from Universe is perfect.
All right.
Fades out everything. Veil able to hit it
Quadra.
over the side. It ends up being a quadra somehow for Jinx, as no one used like any of their stopwatches. Lee Sin still has stopwatch. Victor still has stopwatch. We're not going to spend that money, I guess, this game.
There's no time for it. The game's over.
Yeah. And Penn State gonna close this one out for a bit of a shaky early game. Comes out swinging into the dragon fights. Ruck an absolutely stellar performance here on the Seraphine with the engage ultimates. And it will be Penn State taking game one and putting us to match point here in this
Oh,
best
boy.
of 3.
Always a good sign to be up one game in a best of series. You get that big morale boost, and then you can you get the advantage of seeing if the enemy team is going to be changing anything, because they're going to be on the back foot, and it's going to be interesting to see how the teams adapt, because all things considered, VCU Black had a really good early game. Like,
Yeah.
they were ahead, they almost had the sole point, but it was just some unfortunate catches in the side lane onto the Victor, and then the big one in bot side near the blue buff and around that little tri-bush that just propelled Penn State ahead. So if VCU can hit that early game stride again and then just play it a bit safer and say, hey guys, we don't have to worry about much. We're scaling. We have a hyper accelerated Victor at this point in the game. We can let our Aphelios take a bunch of farm and get all the items he needs. We can fight at Soul and we'll get Soul. If they can manage to get to the early game that they did and then just play a bit more reserve, then they can run a pretty good bet to tie up the series.
Yeah, certainly far from over. We still got plenty of league left to play. Again, Penn State 1 game away from locking the playoff slots at Penn State Blue. Going to continue to look to pursue that here on Blue side this time for game 2. But here on cast, we're going to take a little bit of a break just to transition between games, give us on the cast here a little bit of rest, grab some water and so forth. So we'll be back with you guys here for game 2 in just a few seconds. Until then, stay tuned. Of CSL, we got VCU Black versus Penn State Blue for Game 2. Penn State Blue taking Game 1. I'm going to cut the intro a little bit shorter because we are already well on into draft. Banned away from the blue side, Talia, Zoe, and Lulu. VCU instead banning away Misfortune, Viego, and Yumi. Very similar games to Ban 1. Lulu and Zoe hitting the ban table, as well as PSU first picks the Caitlyn for their AD carry Veil, and VCU going to respond with a Trundle takeaway.
So yeah, basically same exact bans, except PSU subs in the Lulu ban for, I believe it was the Aatrox in Game 1, sort of realizing that the more enchanters we can take off the table here, the better off we're going to end up being. And they do manage to first pick Caitlyn, who is a very, very good bot laner, who you can pair with basically anybody, have it work. And VCU taking away the Trundle, who is very good at environmental manipulation, which works against immobile AD carries like the Caitlyn, and like we had seen versus VCU's Aphelios in the previous game.
Yep, VCU going to lock away the Jhin here as the counter to Caitlyn. Does have a pretty interesting matchup. Caitlyn more of a laning AD carry that has that mid lane dip into her itemization, which eventually late game becomes very strong in. Whereas Jhin is just more of the smooth curve scaling, where his lane is quite weak overall. You do kind of have to force some pretty early advantages to get any true ability of that bot lane. As Karthus and Tryndamere for Ludiverse. Oh boy.
So I went into the client and did a little look at the patch notes beforehand to see what were some of the big changes, and Karthus got a little bit of a change. I believe the mana refund on his E got reduced a bit overall in the early stages. I believe that's mainly to target the bot lane Karthus, but we see it anyway, and we see the Tryndamere, and what better way to counter the champion who just dashes and dashes and dashes than Vex, the champion who was literally made to counter dashes. I'm very excited for this game, despite the fact that there's a Tryndamere involved.
Yeah, Tryndamere has been one of the very high-performing champions for the Ludiverse here in CSL, as well as just for the competitive season so far in general. One of his better picks in mid, of course, debatably ludicrously OP. Depends on who you ask, but
and
certainly a strong pick.
I believe there are 2 different Tryndamere builds. There's the Gore Drinker main one, where you go into fights and just sustain forever, and then the Gale Force one, where you go in and you 3-tap people and then you spin out. So gonna be very fun to see how the Ludiverse decides to build the good Undying Man himself, as the picks in the first stage were unaligned, because I doubt that Karthus is probably not going to get flexed anywhere, considering you do have Tryndamere and Caitlyn, who are the 2 other potential places that Karthus is normally flexed. As we get Jhin Thresh for VCU, pretty good. Thresh can very easily get people out of things very nicely, and Caitlyn Morgana, tale as old as time. Whenever you hear quintessential bot lanes that just like, what are some bot lanes that just really work well together? It's always Caitlyn Morgana. The binding into the trap, into the headshots, into the net, into the peacemaker, into the death.
Ooh, flex to Trundle top lane. Doesn't
Hello? We got Jin Zhao.
Yeah, Xin Zhao into Karthus. Trundle is getting pushed up the top against Ornn.
That's really well played because Trundle loves going up against tanks. As a little behind the scenes, we did get a WTF Jin Zhao in the lobby chat, so I'm a big fan of that. Despite what people might say, Jin Zhao is a funny meme.
I beg to differ, but we shall
Well,
agree
see,
to
that's why I
disagree.
said despite what people say, you know?
Yep. Either way, two very interesting
It's
teams here to put
absurdist,
together.
you know?
VCU definitely taking a little bit more of the unorthodox route. You don't really have a great team fighting comp. You do have two very good pseudo frontliners in Xin Zhao, Thresh, or three actually with Trundle as well in there, depending on build. I mean, you can. There's some really wacky top center builds. I've seen full crit Trundle before. It's an interesting one.
I don't think
I'm
that
still
quite
suspecting Thunder.
necessarily works against the team that PSU has made. But now, in a bit of a different side from what we saw PSU do last game, where they really only had the two people being the Echo and the Jinx dual image. In this one, you have Karthus, you have Tryndamere, you have Caitlyn. That is a lot of damage on one team. And luckily, it's significantly it's going to be very easy for PSU to play a split push game because you have Tryndamere. We all know, we've all had at least one solo queue game with or against the Tryndamere where they just sit in the side lane and bonk their sword against the turret for 20 minutes as your top laner is like, wow, what am I supposed to do here? So we might see that this game, but obviously the main thing we're all going to be talking about is the mid lane matchup with Vex into Tryndamere. Have we seen any Vex in CSL or even on the PSU broadcast before?
I don't think she's actually been on the broadcast yet. If she has, it's been very low key overall. Either way, very new champion. Probably just got enabled this week on CSL. We'll have to see. Or at least people, this is about the time where people have gotten enough games in on the champion to really feel some of the limits. Of course, still more time to advance and see how her build path changes throughout different changes, especially with the new season coming up. All sorts of cool stuff here. But again, Penn State and VCU definitely changing it up on us. Both these teams kind of.
I think the Karthus and Tryndamere picks were very smart because Karthus can get invaded really early because that's sort of the nature of the champion. He can't really do much in the early game jungle. Once he gets like level 4, I believe, and his Q can start to do a lot of damage, he'll be fine. But Xin Zhao can easily take advantage of that. But then you're probably gonna run into a Tryndamere around there, and Tryndamere loves chasing people down. He's got the W to slow you, and he's got the spin. And Tryndamere can sort of like make up for everything because he's resourceless, so he doesn't care about taking Vex's poke. And so he'll just kill the wave and then walk around to protect this Karthus, which I really hope to see. Because in that way, you get your bang for your buck. Your Tryndamere gets a lot of money just by pushing into waves and never dying, and your Karthus gets a lot of money by staying safe from Xin Zhao roam.
Certainly so. I mean, the other thing to look at is how these teams are going to operate. Again, once you get out of the laning phase, once you get into 5v5 team fights, we're going to be having some objective statistic at some point in this game, no matter how either these teams play it. But you have options this game, whereas last game, both teams really spicking out for that 5v5, really not looking for those side lanes as much. This time around, both teams have their options. PSU Blue, Tryndamere, notorious even before he became meta in recent passes for his side lane prowess. Trundle as well, especially solo lane Trundle, who has the accelerated gold growth as well as just having more split push pressure in general through his build path. So two very hardcore split pushes on either side you have, and both these champions also function very well in the 5v5 once they get going.
So me being a mid lane, but I'm going to spend a lot of time focusing on how Naeun plays this Vex, because Vex can be very powerful in the right situations. If you can get a big ulti onto someone sitting in the backline and get the massive AoE fear and your shield into Zanya's, then you can let someone like Xin Zhao jump right into the back and wreak havoc upon them. And Vex can also be used to sort of try to dissuade Tryndamere a bit if it comes to team fights, because you can, if he dashes onto you and you have your fear up, you just press W, he gets feared. You can also take the little passive mark and get your passive fear up even more from dashes. But luckily, Penn State didn't index into too many dashes after they saw the Vex. They realistically only have the Caitlyn net and then Ornn E and then his little headbutt. That counts as a dash. Fun fact. So Vex isn't going to be able to get her passive up as much unless she consistently hits multi-man E's and then can consistently get a big Q pass through to proc those or get some auto attacks in. But it's going to be really interesting to see how Vex plays in this sort of 5v5 situation like this, since obviously she's not enabled for pro play, so it's going to be a long time if we even do see her. So it'll be fun. I myself am looking forward to it.
Yep, certainly something to look at here. I'm not too super familiar on the Tryndamere Vex matchup. Again, we haven't seen the Vex. We haven't seen what this champion can do, but
I can tell you
certainly-
how it goes. Tryndamere auto attacks minions, gets full fury, presses Q to heal, rinse, repeat. That's how it goes.
There you go. There you have it, folks.
Colorcaster, by the way.
Jeez.
But yeah,
We're loading here into game 2.
It
Penn
is.
State Blue match point with a win here. They
Now-
locked themselves into playoffs for CSL, I believe.
personally would think if I'm hidden out, I'd really want to take Exhaust here just so you have the chance at preventing Tryndamere from running rampant around. I think Exhaust is just really good against that champion. Because not only do you reduce his damage, you slow him, which means you can CC him easier. And
Oh, Penn State looking for the 5-man. It's gonna be spotted out here by McLeachy.
look out, Trundle. He's fine.
Let's Yep, all good. So another
Did
level
get
1
spotted out
diffused.
though. Where will they put their ward?
Oh. Yeah, just gonna push in his 5. Make sure they get this early vision here. Onto Vice's camps. Actually, no, they're just gonna full push in. They grab the ward of the wall. Neeks sees they have placed a stealth ward there
Now,
in the jungle brush.
this is pretty interesting because the bot lane for VCU did go in a bit after. Like, normally if you're like, oh hey, they're walking up, you would immediately say that and then the opposite side would immediately go in. But they waited a bit, so their ward's gonna last a bit longer. So it's realistically not going to be that much because why would Karthus ever start bot side if they're on that side when he needs blue buff to function anyway? But
Oh,
that's
Neeks
the-
not win the level 1. The AD stolen away. Good thing Corrupting Pot immediately puts Neeks back in the blue.
that was a bit of an unfortunate face check there, but
Yep, has to burn some early sustain as
very good E. So a lot of Vexes do the E start because not only is it a big AoE for the fear, but it also puts a little stack of your passive on whatever it hits. So then you can just auto attack those and then it reduces your passive cooldown. So very good start and very good being able to land both E's onto the Luniverse so far.
Yep, gonna be slowly chunking him lower and low. Of course, let's have Q sustained.
It doesn't
so
matter
isn't gonna be
because you
too
have the
bad.
Orange Shield in second wind and you're also in here. But it's nice to see that Daeun at least has a basic grasp of how Vex works in the early laning phase, especially against a champion like Tryndamere.
Ooh, getting a chunk pretty good here. Full combo hits from
Yeah, and
Neon.
I'm gonna be talking about it a lot because it's a new matchup, but no matter if Vex places the E in such a place, nope, bit of trading in the top lane, but Luniverse can either dash out of it or stay and get hit, but either way you get a passive little dot on you. Hook goes wide and Hidden Battle takes a lot of auto attacks from the Caitlyn.
Bot lane operating as intended. Caitlyn Morgana having the
Big
priority
lane.
over Jin Thresh pretty hard. Not really too much of an opportunity here for either of these champions to trade without jungle assistance as top
Trundle.
lane in trouble. Pillar, though, does not... That's an interaction. That was interesting.
Yeah, Neatsk is fine, everybody. That's what you should take from there. But
Whatever.
Yep, both junglers just gonna path down bot side here. Of course, Vice going to have the first priority. Did skip Krug as well, so did not go for the total full clear. Whereas Poon, Karthus, you full clear.
you full clear. You
And
go
Buddha
up
grab the
to a
start.
scuttle. You full clear again. You make money.
Yeah. Vice looks bot lane, tries to get something going. It's
Not
Caitlyn
happening.
Morgana with vision. Not gonna get anything going. And with the top laner currently on reset timing, that does mean that Boonsung does get this free first grab. So Karthus, so far unpunished in the jungle. And this is one of these champions where when you let him go for long enough without interacting with him, he will just start
He's
out
just gonna
damaging
get
you
money.
by nature.
And
Yeah.
he's just gonna scale. As we might see the elusive Karthus jungle gank onto the Vex.
Oh, needs can trouble though. Good pillar once again to force the losing trade. And Bao as well, going very low. Second headshot comes through. Off the trap is now mid lane. Fleeing is the universe. Apoon is here as well. Has Revo trying to slow Neon down
That's
a little bit more, but Brush Vision gonna deny anything more.
one of the big things about Vex that when you think you're in trouble and you have your passive up, you just hold it. You don't cast any spells, and then you just save it for your W. And then they get close to you, you press W, you get the shield, and you can also, they run away and you run away. So, very well played. As
Vale possibly in trouble here.
good black
Does
shield.
just have, yep, the Great Ignite as well.
Oh.
Grabs first blood as top lane, gonna
Yeah,
try
after
back.
that-
Needs is super dead. The flash for nothing is Vale. Still very low. Needs one more object to finish it. There's the fourth shot. Ruck though, getting in the way. Not
Boom.
gonna be enough. Array mate
Okay.
finds the counter kill. Now it's Ruck with no mana versus an AD carry who's got auto attacks. Has to hit the Dark
This
Binding if
is-
he's gonna look for the kill. Hits the
Ooh.
Dark Binding and connects the W though.
Please
Not enough
don't
mana.
work.
The fourth shot, not enough. Array mate
Watch out
going low.
for the
One
trap
more
and the
attack.
auto.
Finds it as the teleport comes in. So Ruck is still super dead, but he's just gonna die to Jhin. And it's a 2 for 2 in the end.
Okay, so this is gonna sound crazy, but Hidden Bao throwing that hook as he died was actually what got them the kill onto Vale, because he's CC'd there while the Thresh is dying, and so Jhin doesn't have to be like, oh no, Thresh is gonna die. He can just focus on smacking the Caitlyn with auto attacks. And it does result in a 2 for 2, but luckily both of the kills went on to Jhin, as opposed to both of them going on to the Morgana there. As
Yep.
Neatsk is gonna get hit again. Good roam timing.
Absolutely. Hook, good. Cancel that, but he can't get out of the play. Doesn't have to get out of the more. Good pillar. Needs
Bonk.
just not too long for the world. Repeat gank from Vice lands true. Does have TP to get back to lane, so shouldn't lose too awfully much, but the wave in quite an opposite state. However, this doesn't mean Penn State does get the trade on objectives.
You do a play on one side of the map, the enemy team can do the same on the other, and gonna be starting the dragon stack in a. If you had to get one dragon right at the start, I'm very happy that it's Cloud Dragon, especially before Karthus hits level 6. Because this way, the ultimate CD you do get from Cloud Drake applies to the first ultimate, rather than you getting it when you're already level 6 and have potentially already used it. So that's something very good to look forward to.
Universe. Tick down a bit here, just gonna get poked out. Vex does have quite a bit of wave clear despite being a burst mage. One of the
Yeah.
things they did at the patch pretty much immediately after release.
For wave
Interestingly
clear
enough.
is pretty good because what you can do is if the enemy is standing in the wave, you can press your E as long as your E has the fear up, and then you Q through the wave.
In trouble here is Milici has the subjugate. Finally procs it, so Nitsuki is very dead. Call the fortune
Wait,
comes out
one more
way
auto.
too late. And Miglici finds a solo kill top lane. I mean, this is the matchup. You cannot be that overextended. As the Ornn, you will just get burst down and taken out, especially from the deficit you are currently residing in.
Yeah,
It's just a continual small leads here for the side of VCUB.
and it's very, very smart of VCU to see that Penn State decides to last pick the Ornn when you're on blue side, and you technically had your jungle, but then you can just be like, nah, throw Trundle against it. Trundle wins this matchup easy, so it's And it is paying off very well for the side of VCU there.
Absolutely.
Fresh gets a little minion friend.
Yep, Penn State still trading well in the bot lane despite the 2v2 trade, which, well, even overall, did not fall in their favor. Jin getting both the kills, of course, super favored for him, as well as Caitlyn Morgana should be winning the matchup, so it's not ideal. It's Poonsung just kind of waiting
This
to...
is some hindsight casting, but if Neats didn't try and then failed to use his ulti when he got solo kills, he
Oh,
could've
this
said,
could be
"Okay,
close.
well,
There comes the wall of pain. Neglici trying to get away. Does get under towers. Needs not long for this world. Exhaust comes down, though, just in time. And that might let Poonsung grab 2 kills as he's looking for some more. Has the ultimate still available. Is going to use it. Can't get canceled, though. Oh, no.
got greedy!
Flash for the Requiem's already used.
He got greedy.
You need to back off before you press that R key, Karthus. It's a good cancel by Vice. Had the Q stacked up on the minion. Just flashes in and secures his Luniverse. Confidently trading here onto Neon in the mid lane. And yeah, that is an absolute disaster.
The Tryndamere at full fury with Vex at no mana, you're just sort of like, you're gonna dive me, aren't you, Tryndamere? And Chin's like, nope, I'm just gonna poke you. But yeah, this is looking very good on the top side for VCU there with a 4-0 Xin Zhao.
Yep,
Hey, look,
Vice
he's on
Lele
screen right
is
now. Good
an
timing.
absolute monster. We're quickly approaching raid boss status as 2k gold lead in the early game for VCU.
Yeah.
Double what they had at any point in the last game despite having tempo for most of the early game. Got to see if they want to convert that around this Drake. You do have bot
think
lane with
you
some
should use it to
kills. You
get
can definitely have
Herald,
some priority. And
realistically.
yeah, if you want to keep accelerating, Herald's still a good option, but
Like,
Drake up at
honestly,
137.
I'd want to see them take Herald and then use it to get Trundle out on the map. Normally, whenever you hear people say use Herald to get out on the map, you mean it for the mid laner. But if you can get this Trundle roaming on the map, he can very easily handle a like, 2 to 3 item Tryndamere if he's that far ahead, because he's almost got Thunderer. So I would like to see that as cheeky binding coming out over the wall.
yep, is Lee looking for needs. Does find the knockup, so should buy a little bit of time, but this Trundle very, very
Especially
strong.
attack
Call
is
the
so
Forge God
powerful.
comes out. They got to look to counter with Poonsung. Finds the knockup, finds the second Q. Wall of pain comes down. There goes the Stumpy Gate. So going to be very tanky on the Trundle. Also very quick. And needs actually almost falling down. Flash forward, finds the Q. And Neglici in the 2v1 grabs the solo kill.
Go to Orny jail, my friend. Just got bonked by the flash.
Is disrespect for the PSU blue
Yeah.
top lane of this game.
There's
As
been
bot
a lot
lane
of-
disrespecting the road time, flashing from Rook, but now you don't have flash for the Zinzao gang. Here comes the curtain call, and it's curtains for Penn State
Zinzao.
blue bot lane. Misses 2 shots finally.
You got the last one.
Yep,
There's
Ruck, the sacrifice.
compensation. Not even a compensation kill.
Yeah, Vice Lele up to 5-0.
Huh.
Gore Drinker completed, not as good as it used to be, but
Reboot.
still.
He's walking around the map. He's saying like, top lane, I got you. Bot lane, I got you. And mid lane is just basically what happens when you're laning against your Tryndamere. It's like, well, guess I
farm.
just got a wave clear.
Ooh, Ray made possibly in trouble here. Spoonsung walking up, has the ease. 4 seconds to do
Wait,
quite a bit of damage. Oh, the root comes through. The
Oh.
hook lands, and it's another
What a
overextension of the
dirty
Penn State
hook.
bot lane.
No, look
One more
out,
Q will
Jin.
kill. Ray made the fancy feet for the Requiem. Heal. Saves him just barely.
And the body
Ace for
block
whole
on
blocked.
the Caitlyn ultimate. Oh,
And it-
Lord.
And it is yet again the overextension from Penn State.
That wasn't even an overextension. It was
Hey,
just-
you take a 2v1 fight as Garthis thinking you could grab the kill. That's
He could have. He almost killed the Jin. That's the thing. But yeah, it's looking quite rough for PSU. 2 out of 2 of your Karthus ultis have resulted in absolutely nothing. And you're even in farm with the Xin Zhao. Normally as Karthus, you're the one who's ahead in farm. So it's not looking too good.
nope, especially
But-
Penn State.
We cannot discount the fact that there is a Tryndamere in this game. Or the fact that Jin...
Oh,
is just
solo
bad.
kill! Or duo kill, I guess, but bailed at all the damage. Just the binding from Ruck makes it happen.
Caitlyn Morgana, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Not really a solo kill, but Vale did do all the damage, so it's
Vale did
pretty
tank.
close.
He didn't tank 2 turret shots for you not to just call it a solo kill. Come on. Oh wait, the Vex ult. This,
Oh, yep, coming down, has the flank here as we're going for some plates to not call the mid lane roam timer. So Ruck looking to block it, finding misses, just gonna use the ultimate. Fear not gonna land as well. Neon, Q, land, stun, rooted up,
Oh, he
second
doesn't have-
headshot, just barely grabs the trade
I thought
kill.
Vex had ult, but he didn't have it. But you know, again, Morgana got that kill, and you got the kill onto the Caitlyn. But
Oh,
like I-
Root finds Luniverse, stuck in the 3v1. With Vice there, this is pretty much a
One.
doomed adventure. Gets over the wall.
Jin,
Shots,
come on.
missing for now. Finally
He
goes
lands
through.
it.
Hidden bow, keeping the vision. And yep, good kill
Alright.
there onto the PSU blue mid laner. Raymate picking up that one as well. And the gold lead going to extend to just shy of 4,000 gold.
All right, this Xin Zhao is definitely popping off. He didn't need to invade the cart this early. He makes his own leads happen. He doesn't need to invade. He just does it on his own. But it is not looking too good. I mentioned it a bit earlier, but Penn State really getting punished for this
Oh,
orange
and
pick
speaking
at the
of
very
punish,
end.
Neat hit by a subjugate, but this time around it was a dollar store subjugate, so should be just fine.
It's a zoning subjugate. Don't ask why zoning with a point and click ability means anything, but it was a zoning subjugate.
McLeod had a little bit more mana. McLeod, sorry, had a little bit more mana. Could be one. Ace the whole coming down on a
this might be-
Neon. Moonverse, yeah, this is dead Vex. There's no
Yeah.
potential for a trade kill there. Bootsung
One
does
sec-
pick up that.
That might just be Penn State's hope to get back into this game if they can catch out Nayun again and again in the side lane, sort of echoing game 1 a bit. Except this time on Vex, you're significantly less mobile than a Phase Rush Victor. Not that Phase Rush Victor is that mobile either, but you're significantly less. So, but they might have a way back into this game. Carpus should have his mythic pretty soon. If they can pull some miracle team fights again, they might ground and crawl their way back up.
Certainly very possible. I mean, Dragons are 1-1 apiece. Penn State did manage to secure the first one, so you don't have that death objective scaling like VCU had in game 1.
Yeah.
That you can really force on the map. I mean, you still do have to deal with the raid bosses in the top side of the map of Vice, Lele, and Big Leche because, you know, very strong Trundle working on something out of the garage sale he has in his inventory. And then 1.5 items on Zinzao, 5 and 0. The Gore Drinker, while it might not be as strong as it used to be, still gives you
Still pretty
quite a
good.
bit of durability in these team fights. And yeah, we're just going to go with the split push. This is what happens when you have the winning side lane. Trundle running amok on PSU side of the map. Universe not able to get on. Gale Force in. Does a little bit of work, but that's a lot of damage from just one Q.
Luniverse is like, yeah, I'm Tryndamere, I can do this. Gets bitten by Trundle's like, on second thought, let's not do that one.
Yep, not looking to die here with just 23
And-
seconds on the Infernal Drake.
That's 2 towers down in top lane, and they send a lot of people to the top side of the map, so Vex and Xin Zhao get the bot lane turret as well. And
Yep.
guess what? They're already postured for the dragon. Or Xin Zhao and Fresh are. Jin is
Tier 1
unfortunately
mid.
stuck here.
Does go to PSU, so they will
But
get
yeah.
that one back.
Looks like VCU are going to be able to get this dragon, should they choose to go for it.
Yeah, again, not really any onus on Penn State to contest a losing fight right now. If you don't think you can deal with Vice on the Zinzao, you can just look to hold this mid lane tier 1 and 2. I think we still tier 1 up.
Yeah,
Pretty sure. The reverse can try to contest
okay.
in the top side. Has Moonsung nearby, but we've seen how this goes before.
Oh.
Finally popped the ultimate.
Big
Ghost is
pop.
there as well. Ace in the hole coming out, but this Trundle is so darn
Ooh.
tanky. Gets away for now and might look to turn
Jeez.
back onto the card that's just winning out in the 2v1 with impunity. Dragon finally goes down as turret. Just one hit. Veil. Possibly Gale Force down. Good flash in from Ruck. Trying to get
my
snap, but now the Kirk Ghost coming
lord.
through. Boots though finishes him off with the Requiem as Ruck gonna be traded for the Sins. Vice. Nope. Ended up. One for W. Looking for the E under the turret, but is it worthwhile? The turret goes down. He
turret.
does
Oh
Flashed
my
away,
god!
Crescent Guard,
No
Lantern,
way! He's out!
just barely out of there
Oh
is
my
Lunovers.
god!
Still dealing with Mid-Leche, and that is the
Put that
power of
on the
Crescent Guard,
highlight
buddy.
channels.
Raid boss not down as Neon finds a Kunsung on his Raptor camps. As
No,
reset, Veil gets away for now, but it's true.
Yo,
Barely traded
clean
back.
back play. But I see Xin Zhao ult under the turret, and I'm like, dude, the ult doesn't protect you from turret damage, but the turret was one auto attack from dead, and then he has the fancy footwork to get out, keeping the Caitlyn and the Karthus outside of his little challenge area, and it's turning up heads on every single coin for VCU in this game, and that's insane.
Yep, mix it out live, hidden bow there just to get the last little exodus with the lantern, and now commanding 5,000 gold leaf side of VCU. Black certainly has the winning side lane. Lunover's way too far up any real good itemization into this Trundle.
Trundle's
Could be
just
a
gonna
long way
bonk
off
him.
for that one. Yeah,
The
Ornn
AD
completely. Ornn still doesn't have a mythic.
Yeah, the
Doesn't have
AD
one completed
heft
item.
on a Trundle bite is very detrimental to someone like Tryndamere, because if you steal AD, it's ruining the Tryndamere crits as well. And it's just sort of like, well, what do? You just gotta wait to really scale, but so many people on VCU are already so far ahead of their counterparts. Like, if anything, Caitlyn's ahead of Jin, and she has 2 items, but that second item is a rapid fire. It's not gonna do much to take down the Xin Zhao and this Trundle once they get a bit more armor. And Jin just got his Dominic, so he's pretty strong right now. As we just gotta wait to see what the teams decide to fight for next.
Yeah, Baron is up. I mean, VCU can actually force it here if they so choose. They do have the gold as Punsung. Find Neon, but he's going for the reset here onto Lunoverse. Doesn't find the kill just yet, so he's going to go under the tower. Tryndamere with ultimate. Yeah, that's a bit of an overcommit. The shutdown comes through. Lunoverse happy to pick that one up. Does get traded back to the tier 2 bot side as the tier 3 under fire.
Everyone else is in the top side, and yeah,
this is an
Trundle's
inhibitor.
just gonna do that.
This is the inhibitor pretty much gone. Veil will get here, but we'll see what he can do as Vice Lele in the area as well. Make the just trying to rotate over here toward the tier 2 mid potentially. Nope, we'll turn back. Just gonna go make sure his team gets out of this one safely.
I got a bit of deja vu there watching the team with the Trundle. When someone makes a big play on the top side, just running down and taking tier 3 bot lane. And it's just VCU in the driver's seat. Yeah. Naeun is dying, but if they're sending so many people to take care of just the Vec, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do with everyone else? The Ornn's not doing anything. He's just now, never mind, he's too scared to get his mythic. And you're just slowly gonna be losing.
Yes. First champions, by the way. It's half HP. As it's actually Penn State starting to turn. They knew that VCU was on reset. So they're gonna try to sneak this one.
This is
Do it
their
quite
way back
fast.
into the game. I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah, Xin is bot side. This is
Sneaky.
yeah. I mean, you do have the Trundle bot lines. They might trade. They're probably gonna end up trading away the inhibitor for this one, but they don't see him. Yeah, that's a free Baron
They
action
just
for Penn
went
State
to
Blue.
get it. They just right out from under our noses.
Yeah, and they possibly have contested time as well to get it back on map and try to contest this Infernal Drake. I mean, they don't have to if they don't want to. It's only third Drake. They can give away Soul Point.
VCU getting a bit lazy there. It's like you see no one on the map for about 10 to 15 seconds. You gotta think they're planning something.
Yep.
And it's a Karthus with an item and Caitlyn on 2 items. They can and the Tryndamere, they just could easily bonk down the Baron.
Yeah, it's not
But we'll
like
have
Penn
to
State's looking to
see
contest this one. So
what PSU can do with the Baron. They will most definitely get something topside.
this is. Yeah, we're just gonna push tier 2. They have the top prize, so they can just walk out toward topside here
Okay.
when VCU tries to collapse. Raymate gonna be the first one up. They're gonna push back for now. He's spotted out by Neon, but yeah, bot lane inhibitor just traded in recompense. Needs not the person who can be here defending against this Trundle. There's nothing he can do. So it's a free inhib and a dragon in
You
exchange
can kill
for
the
Baron.
minions after Trundle leaves.
Yep, that's pretty much it. As Neon is
I've
grossly
seen this one before.
overextended. He's trying to stop the push, I think, but the Dark Binding connects. Veil the free solo kill or duo kill again. The binding comes through, but either way, free kill.
Seen this one before, several times.
Yeah, that's bit of a question mark ping. I'll get it later.
Say that.
And
But-
just gonna continue going around clearing scans. Gold lead has shrunk. It's just under 4K now, so they've gotten about 1,000 back off his Baron. Just about as much gold as you get
Oh
to
my
take it.
God.
And now going low. Good use the Guardian. Get out of that one for now. Splash
Really good Morgana.
Or
ult,
Rook.
too.
It's an ulti, but the curtain call secures that one. No problem. Poon now in trouble as Vice has the Crescent Chargers. He will take no damage. Veil also on the backside. Pursued and taken
Trundle
out.
response from
Lychee leaving nothing chance. Good Hourglass to get away from that as well. Looniverse looking
I don't
to
think
engage here
they
with
win
Clay J,
this.
but they're waiting for the subjugate to come out. There comes the W. Trying to steal some AD.
don't think they
There's
can win
the forward gun. Will he get it off? No! Just barely dies. But
Oh.
you're kicking that close to the AD carry. It's still a Trinity, my friend. He'll go down eventually. It will be the ace for the side of VCU.
Can they-
Black.
no way.
If they went to bot lane right now, they can end the game.
If they hightailed it to bot lane, they could have, but they're just gonna take their consolation prizes.
Yeah, they're
As
gonna cross their T's and dot their I's.
Trundle. Trundle. Okay, he's not gonna die to turret. That would
No,
have
he's
been...
fine. He is raid boss number 2 of this game.
no.
There's ace in the hole. Yeah, it does nothing.
Oh
Who
no.
would've guessed?
Anyway,
Yeah, not much to be said there. VCU gonna extend the gold lead here all the way up to 6,000, the largest one we've seen here yet. This game at least. They have this also point. Penn State pretty much has to fight that in 2 minutes and 45 seconds time. So, still looking for some kind of way to deal with the Zinzao, to deal with the Trundle. Have not had an answer yet all game. Nietzsche has been pretty much irrelevant.
non-existent.
He's still not level 14. He still hasn't upgraded a
He
single
is
item
almost
at this point in the
Flame
game.
Horizon.
Yeah, he's 0-6 on the Ornn. Has to basically play second fiddle to everyone else on Penn State team. Can't contest Trundle on the side lane. Can't team fight with the team. Can't tank as a frontliner. Just is not a champion right now.
From the back line. He can do that, right?
Possibly. It looks like setup here is going to be around this in front of Drake again. 1 minute and 50 seconds here until what is more than likely the final fight.
If we thought
for
this
this game.
Trundle was doing damage before, imagine this Trundle with the Infernal Soul behind him. That is going to be some dangerous bonks coming out. But, yeah, VCU pretty expertly punished the last pick Ornn, I'd say, and then they could just snowball the game from there. It's just really well.
Oh, ulti coming in. Good Hourglass on Poon, but probably won't save. Mirror's in, also in as well. Tries to get in the middle of the team to get as much use as his passive. Grabs the on the device, his top side.
Wild.
Looniverse looking for Lychee, but has to pop the ulti so early. Sterix comes out now. Veil in trouble. You're the 80 carry. The shutdown finally goes on Looniverse.
Okay.
But with the shutdown
consider-
comes the cost of the base. Ruck, Veil, and Looniverse going to be the last 3 versus 4, and you still have 1 Juggernaut standing for this team. Binding's not going to hit anyone
minions
just
are
yet.
coming.
Have to be careful. Root comes through onto Veil, but no follow-up just yet. Another fear available for Neon as the next tower is under siege. Flash from Ruck, try and get in the back line. Oh, but Veil is pursued. Vice finds the damage they can. Crescent Guard going to mean a lot. Ace in the hole comes out. Can't
Ooh,
find the
good
kill with the
shield.
shielding. They'll get some health in base and
I
try
think we're
try
going
again.
to game 3.
Yeah,
Oh.
it looks like a Requiem though. Gonna find one immediately. Have to pop the GA onto Vice. They want
I
to try to
think
secure
I
this one.
spoke
Grabs
too
one.
soon.
Oh, GA pop. Jin under pursuit as
I
well.
think I spoke a
Raymate
bit
has
too
to get away.
soon.
Can he end the game? No, he cannot. And Penn State Blue holds on for dear life. A Raymate gets
Oh.
chased away. Looniverse does die.
Okay.
So the Jin does get the kill on that end. That does mean 10 seconds left for the Infernal Drake.
If
Poon
only
and Veil
someone
are up.
had a ward up. Because I would have put the ward down and then Trundle just teleports in. But luckily, Jin did stay alive, and then Trundle is back, and so this is Infernal Soul. Like,
Yep. Doesn't take it for you. I mean, at the cost of not losing the game, that's one you take if you're Penn State.
yeah, like,
you don't lose the
we
game, but you will have to choose. You
could
will
have
have
gone
to
to
give
an
the Drake.
entirely different game and be on match points getting the playoffs, or they can just take Infernal Soul. You take Infernal Soul every day of the week there. And Trundle is basically
Ooh, they're gonna try to engage on McLeachy here. Finds the Ornn ultimate. Vale doing good damage. Derek skates about. Yeah, and that's easy kill in the side lane. Pushed too far up. The team
That's too
still
early
positioning
to
around the
die.
Baron.
That is
I
a
mean,
bit too early
Penn
for the
State
Trundle
Blue
to
still
die, I think.
can't contest this, so
Well,
it's not
yes,
really gonna matter.
But there is a chance that something could have happened if Penn State were feeling bold. They're not feeling bold.
They
and
know that they're on it, but not much.
that's completely respectable.
Yeah, it's gonna keep you on 9 point. We're at 30 minutes of the game. Infernal Soul and a 6,000 gold lead still over the side of VCU blue or black. Sorry, blue is Penn State. And yeah, it's just kind of waiting for the end game here. We do have at least the game ending here within the next 5 minutes. Elder Dragon up at 450.
Oh boy.
Penn State still a long way off of this one. Ornn does have his first upgrade in, I believe, on somebody. Is level 14, so should have an upgrade available.
Now, important to note, Jin literally just full bought his Infinity Edge.
He had a lot of money. He hasn't backed in a while.
And Vex is backing right now and should have enough money to buy Zanya's, which I believe it was either Zanya's or Naeun just got a stopwatch. It was the full Zanya's. So now, when Vex decides to go Hail Mary with Shadow on the ultimate, he can just Zanya's it. As that was a surprising amount of damage from the headshot there. And
Ooh, that's a surprising
wow.
amount of damage there on Vale. Does pop the Hourglass, but he is literally sitting at 1 HP. Survives somehow. It gets a lot of healing off, and they're not going to be able to follow up just yet. Vice Legion, though, fighting things on the backside is the other end of it. Ruck cannot deal with the enemy top laner. Raymate finally gets on to Vale, and that will just be the end of the game. Luniverse has nothing more to do, and we are going to go to full series
now
here
we're
as
going
game
to game
3 on the horizon. Finally, VCU puts the nail in the coffin, and we'll have to see what these teams decide to do the next time around. Exciting stuff here on Summoner's Rift tonight for
all
CSL.
right, Trundle and Zinzhao.
I think you just don't pick Ornn into the Trundle.
Probably
and you
should
probably have a
rename
better
that
time.
champion Wen Zhao. But yeah, pretty big punish on that Ornn last pick. The Ornn last pick worked well when Penn State were on red side because you see the whole team. But when you're blue side, they can just be like, okay, Trundle, you can go take a bite out of the Ornn, have fun. And we saw the consequences of that throughout the entire game.
Yeah, definitely. The tough thing about this time, VCU not playing around. They get their early lead, and they will absolutely end with it. Did take a little bit longer than most, a little bit of misplays in some of the fights
I'd
there.
rather it take
McLeachy
longer
definitely gets
and
caught out a little bit.
I'd rather it take longer and then be a pretty decent win than them just like throwing away at random points and then ultimately then losing the game.
Yeah, I mean, one thing Penn State does need to focus on is top lane was lost
From
very
Champion
early
Collect,
on.
I'd
Yes.
say.
And I think the one issue they had is they kept sending to salvage in the early game.
Yeah.
Vice Lele got so many kills off of this top side. McLeachy could 2v1 from pretty much level 6 onward with no problem. Karthus couldn't do any damage to this guy. Ornn couldn't do any damage to this guy. And the rest of the map ends up suffering. So I think it's Penn State, I think, get a little bit lost on where they need to play the map. They were so worried about this failing top lane that they put too much into it at that point. I mean, because Neats had relevance in maybe one fight for the ultimate, and that was pretty much it for the entire game. Was
Yeah.
not a champion otherwise this time around. So certainly
Don't last pick
some
it on
stuff
blue
to
side.
think about. Yeah. Also, just understand when it's the sunk cost fallacy. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, we
It's
cannot
like, okay,
keep
Orin's
doing
just
this.
gonna be stuck under turret and getting like 3 CS per wave, but he's not dying. And not dying is a very good skill to have in League of Legends.
Yep. Now we do get to see the game 3 here in just a few minutes. We're gonna possibly switch over here to a break. We'll see in just a minute. Wait for production to get through. Yep, we're taking a break. Thank you, production. Uh, so we'll be back here in just a few minutes for game number 3. Match point both
Match
ways
point,
for
baby.
playoffs. Catch you in a few. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Match point on both sides this time. Game number 3.
All the
Believe winner of this
marbles
match.
are on the
Yep.
table now.
Winner of this match locks themselves, or at least pretty much guarantees themselves very low margins of missing the CSL playoffs. This time, VCU on the blue side, PSU on red, as we're into picks and bans. VCU
Okay.
with Scorching Diego and Yumi, as we've seen all series long. Penn State going with Trundle, Vex, and Talia, so completely changing their ban style this time for
I
game
am
number
very
3.
sad that they kept the Talia on the ban table because I would have loved to see a Talia game tonight. But I mean, when you look at the last game and you think about the problem champions, I would agree that Trundle was basically the biggest problem champion that VCU managed to take the win with. And the Vex was sort of a problem in the late game, but by that point, you've already lost the game. And VCU managed to get the Xin Zhao yet again, first pick.
Now we'll have to
And-
see how effective the Xin is this time, because you're not necessarily picking around. This was the flex pick on R5 last game. Completely surprised. Was very good to the enemy team. That's
But
sort of thing.
also, Vice
Did play a very good game
really
on it.
good
I will. Yes,
on
I will. I will
Xin
not.
Zhao.
I'm not taking anything from it. We'll have to see what Penn State.
But we got
They have the
horse.
knowledge this time around. They can design something to deal with it. So blue certainly has their options at
And-
Hecarim.
Alright,
One of their
we
comforts.
got the horse, and who else is going to be accompanying that horse into battle? The Rise. The
Yep.
Tales.
Luniverse gets his
Tales of
his
the
best
Universe's
Shigeri
rise
champion.
echo throughout the Penn State League community, and he has arrived for this match point game. Gonna be very interesting to see who VCU decide to put in the mid lane against this Rise, because you could just go for comfort and be like, okay, they do take away, so in compromise to them banning the Trundle and the Vex, a champion they banned in the previous 2 games, this Zoe, managed to be left up. So they do get the Zoe and then the Zaya, which did get some pretty decent buffs on this patch, excuse me, but is still not an ideal AD carry, especially when only one of them has been banned out and there are so many others to pick from, like the Aphelios, one could say, that PSU managed to snatch up for themselves.
Strong scaling here for Penn State, going for what I'm assuming is the team fight. I mean, Rise can sideline very well, but certainly something you want to leave by himself a lot. C9 Perks getting caught out in some situations in this world is certainly a testament to that one. But
no, don't talk about
full
those games.
comfort coming out for PSU this time around. Hecarim, Rise, and Aphelios, all solid picks for their mid laner, jungler, and AD carry.
When you pick Zaya, blue side, 3rd pick, is that when you go into ban phase, you're basically inviting the Rakan ban, which could be good if you were never planning on playing Rakan anyway. But we all know Zaya and Rakan are very, very, very powerful together. So it sort of makes you weaker, but on the same side, it basically forces the ban out. So it could be good, especially because Rakan is very, very good at catching someone out like a Rise, who, if he wants to get out, is forced to stand in a very circle area, which coincidentally is Rakan's engage. As PSU, they looked at the bot lane that VCU played in the game and it's like, we'll take that one, thank you very much, as they get the Aphelios and Lulu in the bot lane.
Yep, gonna take the bot lane that VCU used in game 1 out for a spin, and this would be very spy way. You get a Bard lock-in, a match point by VCU.
That
kind of interesting. Has some potential.
That's very, very interesting to see, because we've seen a lot of pretty good Rises be able to utilize the Realm Warp to put their teams into an advantageous position, and Realm Warp just keeps everybody grouped up together in one singular space, and guess what? Bard could just throw his ult down and then your team gets 3 seconds to position, but in the top lane, what a fun top lane
baby.
matchup.
PSU Malphite, baby. It's the classic. And one of needs more go-to picks here. Interesting we see it here on Off-Ride, but does have a very nice matchup in Gnar. Just kind of survives and thrives into the mid to late game, whereas Gnar has to wait for his Mega to really have any impact in team fights. Malphite, you have that sweet, sweet use of the R key that just makes him so nice, so easy, so free on his side in terms of when he wants to fight. Exactly, a rock-solid option indeed. Also does well in the Zins out and has great engagement potential onto every single member of the team. Zoe, in particular, has such a hard time against unstoppable dive champions like Malphite and Hecarim. It's very hard to position. If you try to ult forward and grab damage on someone and you're not being careful, both these champions come right over the wall. And even though Hecarim and Malphite, usually more tanky members, don't build a lot of damage, will absolutely massacre you. You have very little health, very low escape play. If you do not have flash, you are pretty much just gone with the wind that you cast, throwing forth that paddle star.
Well, luckily on Zoe, you're statistically more likely to have flash up because you can just steal it if it comes down to it, if someone on the enemy team uses it. But the odds of that happening when you're also in a situation where you're getting dived on by Hecarim Malphite, not likely. Because if you're getting dived on by those champions, your team's the one flashing away, not the enemy. But
gonna have to see how Penn State want to play this one. They do draft themselves a pretty much pure 5v5 team fight top. No poke, no funny business. Just let's ram it down your throat late game. Now we do have to see Penn State get to the late game this time around. If Vice Lele can get ahead early, if you see a big lead in top lane from McLeach again, if you see Neon this game, absolutely pop off on the Zoe. Does have very strong laning, very good early game potential to start getting ahead.
Zoe's pop off insanely well at Worlds.
Yeah.
So you can never discount that champion. As much as I would love to, you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, very fine pick here into the Rise. Rise does have quite a bit of counterplay to it. especially once he starts getting going. But a lot of early precedents here for the side of VCU to really put it together. They can look to repeat what they did last game. Had the composition for it for sure to try to get ahead. Maybe lacking a bit of the split push set that they were so graciously given in the Trundle top. So something to be aware of. But Penn State, if they want to try to bring up this game, it's going to need to be controlled. It is going to be safe play, and it's going to need to be smart play because they got to get to the point where they can fight when you have the 2-3 items on Weiss, when you have the 2-3 items on Aphelios, when Ruck can actually buff up one of these carry picks on the Lulu, then this team is really going to shine around the objectives. But it's going to be very dependent on, can they get vision control? Can they deny these pick champions like Bard, like Zoe, like Xin, who can really catch out lone members and make sure that they can still get their 5-man unit there in one piece, not get poked out, and still be able to execute very cleanly. So emphasis, I think, here on PSU. Play the early game as safe as you want to because you do have plenty of scaling options.
You just gotta sit back and let your Aphelios and Rise hit 3 items and hope you're not too far behind when that happens. Because once they get their items, they can be very dangerous in team fights against champions like Zoe and Zaya, who really, they do have their own ways to get out of things. Zoe can just do like 5 flashes in a row and be fine, and Zaya does have the Feather Storm, but again, that's really your main damage. You don't have a lot of very consistent teamfight damage outside of your AD carry. Yeah, Mini Nar can do it, Xin Zhao, if he gets on to a lot of people and gets his Conqueror up, can, but a lot of it's going to come down to how well can this Zoe get people low so that Penn State feels uncomfortable just pressing R on every champion and going in.
And I mean, not a game you want to be itemizing Merc Tread's mid lane here for the ride. It's one of the things you see a lot on control mages when they have to fight big burst champs. Like Zoe, Cinder's another one that's very often you see the Merc Tread rush into. A little bit, actually significantly less value this game. You do have the double 80 tops in Xin Zhao and Gnar. Zaya as well doing most damage. Yeah, Bard, you can get the Merc Treads, but there's not a ton of value on going Mercury's or something like the Sork shoes here for Luniverse. So it'll be interesting what he decides to itemize on the boots level, because no one really wants to go that heavy into MR against Zoe except for maybe Hecarim picking up a Spirit Visage at some point. Because, you know, healing, it's a thing that the Hecarim likes to do a lot of. So certainly going to be interesting to see how this game goes. I mean, lane stage should be winning mid early on. Of course, Luniverse is on his Ultra Comfort Pit. Neon pretty much the same from my knowledge point, as it has been banned out every single game. So
yeah,
big battle in the mid lane here so can get done, and we're going to have to see if Vice Lele can keep up the Xin Zhao performance. If he can get to that raid boss state, certainly is incredibly scary versus Penn State's team, but has to get there first. This is not a surprise Xin Zhao pick. This is a B1 with full knowledge on Penn State's side of what's coming up. So we're going to see if he can keep up the same performance when he's maybe not in necessarily as advantageous a position.
Yeah. And like I said, Zoe had been banned in both of the previous games, so I'm very curious to see Neon on this Zoe and if it's really as much of a terror as the 2 bans in previous games would lead us to believe. And especially when you're against the Rise, who you can pretty easily sort of like bully out in the early game in Zoe. You weave your spells in between your auto attacks, you get the free damage off, and Rise can't really do much to you. So if the Zoe can get ahead and then posture around these objectives through the walls with the sleep, with the very long range paddle stars, and it'll be very interesting to see how they play around the mid lane here.
Absolutely. I mean, the last thing just to hint at here before we get done with the spectator delay is this topside matchup. Neatsk showed up in game 1, has been having an incredibly rough time since game 2 of really finding his footing. He's back on another tank here. A little bit more comfort, I think, here, at least in CSL on the Malphite. Has been something PSU has brought up quite often. Again, you don't win lane into Gnar as Malphite, but you are still a very good pick into the champion. So hopefully see him hold a bit of his own in this laning phase, be able to transition more smoothly, and have just a better overall performance and be a contributing factor to his team's successes. Again, looking to secure that playoff spot here as we load on into game 3 in just a few seconds.
And it's all coming down to this with playoffs on the line. Gonna be
Yep.
very interesting to see how the teams adapt to each of the games and see what they do the same, what they do differently. And right now, Luniverse has Electrocute instead of the very, very common Phase Rush.
Yeah,
Looking
interesting to
to
see both of these supports took Guardian post nerf, which I think is quite interesting. You normally maybe see like a little bit of different, but just gonna go with what we know, I guess, so far. So just something to point out here. Still might be the
yeah,
best
could
rune.
have
I'm
been
not
a Hellblade
super
bar.
sure. Could have been Hellblade Bar, could have been
Barn in
Airy on
Game
Lulu.
3.
Could have been Airy on
Imagine.
Lulu as well.
But yeah,
Ooh, VCU is the ones
grouping
this
up.
time going for
Well,
the level 1.
I'd say grouping up, but it's just Zinjao walking brazenly into the enemy jungle with the rest of his team hanging out in the brush. Bold. Very bold.
Certainly so. And we're gonna have to see here how this evolves as the game continues.
Minions
So
have
it's young.
spawned.
Both members on Penn State, being the Hecarim and the Lulu, they do swap over to their Red Trinket. Now, important to note that I believe Hecarim did not use his ward, so his Red Trinket is already up. So he'll probably end up using that to see that little thing on red buff. Yep. Look at that. That's like what, 10 extra gold? 15? 10 and 10. Even better. Math. Luniverse is up at CS. Already very good. And he does manage to start on Raptors as well. So
Yep, good trade here by Universe on level 1 as well.
a little less information because he cleared it right as red buff spawned, so you don't know if it's like, oh, maybe he did red buff solo, or oh, maybe he did rat. You don't really know for sure. And if you don't know something for sure in League, then you might as well not know it at all. Really good Q from Universe there as well, so it'll weave in through the minions.
Yep, and
As we sort of
Should
take the
be-
world tour around the map, getting a look at early lane states. PSU Malphite, Comet, throwing the Qs at the Gnar.
lots of early poke, very hard to trade into. A general classic as do see Poonsun going back for the full clear top side. Should be possibly taking a reset, maybe, as interesting pathing here. Already cleared the Raptors, so just kind of has to take this really long walk down.
You are Hecarim, though.
Yes, it's true,
You
but
do enjoy the long walks as Hecarim, because it lets you charge up your E, and then you can just get there to the Wolf Camp, in this case, a bit faster, and have your E fully charged.
yeah, we'll be Vice still, regardless, with the tempo at least in jungle. He'll have
Now,
first move out.
Both of them
Okay, and
are meeting.
whoa! Fantastic trading from Beats up at top side.
Both of these junglers will be meeting in the bot side. And the mid lane is Prio for VCU, and the bot lane has Prio for Penn State. So if they do decide to meet a bit earlier, it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top here.
Yep, and again, still looking for the clear here is Neon. Possibly in trouble, has to run the
Luniverse
Ignite
has no
Luniverse.
mana.
Yeah, out of mana, so probably
Can't
needs to
really
take the
do
reset
much.
here for this Crab contest as Penn State bot lane wants to fight it. Walking up to the Crab now. Hecarim finally getting off. Poon can join the fray. Looks like he's just about secured, but we're getting directed camera all the way to the top lane this entire time. Not gonna even get to see the Crab. Finest splash
Ooh.
from Luniverse just barely miscalculates the damage. If he had Corrupting Plot, that was a kill.
If he had I don't think he had Electrocute up as well. Like, if he had Electrocute up there, that kills. 100%.
Crab did go to PSU, by the way.
Okay?
So despite the
And-
tour we got for directed camera and top
Now,
lane, seeing nothing happen, we did get to see Crab
Importantly,
secure.
Zoe took Ignite in this matchup, and the Ryze did it. So while both of them did burn Flash there, Ryze has Teleport, and he's already up 10 CS in this lane. So he's looking very, very comfortable for himself.
Yep, his needs just chilling topside. Have
Big
the
Demolish
biscuits.
proc.
Yeah,
Dealt like-
you're ranged mode, baby.
Dealt
You
like
don't get
100
that much
extra
value
damage.
out of it,
Not
unfortunately.
even that.
Yep, and bot lane
Aphelios.
is just going as planned. Is the trade of Crab.
Aphelios is on my
Ooh.
favorite gun combination.
He comes
because
down.
He can do that. I really like Infernum and Gravitum in the early lane phases because if you see them in a giant minion wave, not only can you Q with Infernum to get the damage off, you also get the gravity stacks on everyone in there, and you push it a lot faster for yourself. And there's a bit of a potion difference here in the bottom lane because Vale has all 3 of his, and the Zaya is sitting on none.
I have lost stream visibility. There we go.
We're back.
We're back. Okay. Alright, so a little bit of glitching there on our end for production, but back in the driver's seat is forcing out top lane. Poon's going to help. Needs to shove this one in, make sure has to burn the TP these plugins. Yes, Neon,
Yep.
level 6 finds the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Battlestar coming through, grabs good damage.
Good damage.
Universe not really able to trade too
And
much back into that.
good positioning to get out of range of the bounce from the Q as
Ooh.
one
Vice Lily.
perhaps.
Grab
Did you
dragon.
get Okay.
No problem. So yeah,
Bit of a sneaky there, but they do get first dragon for themselves at a very early time, all things considered. And it's really good to get first dragon that early because the enemy team can't take the Herald in response because Belly isn't on the map yet. And it's a very good way to start by stacking those dragons at 6 minutes. Because it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team because if you can consistently get those dragons, you'll be sitting at like a 20-something minute soul. And if you can just slowly keep getting a bit more ahead every minute, there's not going to be that much of a contest available at a 20-something minute soul.
Mhm.
But now, very quiet early game compared to the previous 2.
Yeah, not really any early contest, not any early fighting of the crab. Maybe the only real big fight we've had thus far, and I mean quite heavily trading in mid lane, but neither side willing to go down just yet. Good sidestep there from the Universe in the Sleepy Trouble Bubble as Neon had the Yomus active in inventory. And I mean, slow game favors the side of Penn State Blue here for certain. Have plenty of scaling elements, plenty of ways to get on top of the enemy as Mermaid finds a good feather or blade collar onto Ruck. It will just be another disengage as Ignite goes down mid. Luniverse gonna try to roam up out of that Sleepy Trouble Bubble, not gonna connect! And Luniverse gets all the way back to the tier 2. Well played by the Penn State mid laner to get out of a very tricky gank. No flash available.
Yeah, the Drowsy's got a hard CC, so it doesn't stop the Rise ulti.
Yeah.
That is very good, because that turret there is very insane, because Vale managed to put it down in such a way where Zaya can't chase without getting hit by more, therefore stacking up the chakrams, and then they also can't run away without stacking up the chakrams. So, very smart placement of the little Aphelios turret there.
Yeah, needs has the ultimate, should be fine as this gank comes through. Vice Lily gonna look onto the Malphite, does get a little bit of speed boost here. There's no mega available, so he's just gonna instead burn the flash, possibly looking to save the ulti for a re-engage if Poon's gonna find anything, but they ping mid missing. They know the Zoe could be in the area, and they do not want to deal with Neon at this point in the game without their mid laner. So they will just disengage. Neitz has a teleport, came back to lane. I think he probably just burns the ulti there instead most of the time. You can't get canceled out of that. It is unstoppable by nature.
But
so.
also, if in a world where they see Zoe a bit later, they might not think that Zoe's there, and then they might think it's a straight 2v2, and you have Hecarim and Malphite ult for the big combo. But they saw Zoe, so I still think, as you say, burning the ultimate to get away should have been the play, but just use the flash instead.
Still has it for this trade if he wants it. Is actually possibly a little overextended here. Not just yet. Has a lot of healing. There's the Double Force, and yeah, there's the solo kill for first blood in top lane. Neitz saying, hey, you might have gotten the better of me in game 1. You might still have a pretty hard CS lead on me right now, but
I got first blood, and that's all that matters.
Solo kill.
See,
So,
that's why he did. That's why he didn't ult away. Do you want to know what we call this? We call that results-based analysis.
Yeah, that is
He
For
flashes away because he knows he can ult to get the solo
Yep.
kill for first blood.
Certainly,
Needs playing
certainly,
5 minutes in the future.
certainly, sir. That's absolutely a good reason, a good track of reasoning. Either way, does net him the kill, so much needed gold back into the top lane here. Again, still down 20 CS, so is hurting a bit on that department. Set up the freeze though before he backs, so he gets to again walk back to lane for free without teleport.
Yeah,
And Nara is
always
still
good.
losing CS, so very nicely done here by Needs in game 2, looking significantly better top side.
Mm-hmm.
And Penn State now has a teleport advantage up in the top lane for this dragon up in 40 seconds if they do want to fight it. Mayon as well getting chunked pretty low.
That
Universe,
one
pretty good trade.
melee minion's the real hero. That Q would have dealt a lot more damage to Zoe there. Rise is getting to that point in the game where he can deal a considerable
Yeah, that
amount
point in the
of
game,
damage.
Amp Tone Mana Crystal.
Well,
That
a
point.
considerable amount of damage compared to early game Rise.
Sure,
Especially
does
when
have the
the
Q
Zoe
pretty much maxed out now, so.
when the Zoe doesn't have MR and Rise can rapid fire Q a lot, it'll add up very much comparative to the early game little Qs. But we are posturing for this dragon.
Yeah, Needs can't TP just yet with Nara's ability to stun you
They'll
out.
also
Will
have
be the drag
ult up
fight.
really soon.
TP ward in the middle of the pit for a very surprised Malphite ulti.
But that is a really good ward because it sort of makes everybody who's in the middle of the pit panic. It's like, God, the Malphite's going to be right on top of us. What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah,
But
and Dragon's
I
gonna
believe
start
this
up here.
is smart.
Penn State
They're
doesn't have
sort of like
Cryo.
stalling. They're like, hey,
Ooh, hidden
Sleepy.
bow. Finds Vale,
What a
finds a stun
stun.
on Rook. Blade Collar not gonna be a good flash away from Vale. Finds the ultimate as well to grab some healing. Healing up off the Q. Flash in from Nam, but he can't find any damages yet. Root comes through, is boosting York, finding him on the backside. Needs has teleported in already. Does maybe another great set by Hidden Bow to buy some time, but there comes the Assault Force. There comes the engage. Lele getting a kill on the backlines. Neon in the brush. Lele looking for the damage. Might just have it. It's double kill though for Luniverse as the backside of the map has been entirely torn apart. Lele gets double kill, looking for a third, but it's just
Ooh, that
not
was
going to be
fun.
enough. Penn State finds 4. They're going to trade it for plenty of plates topside. That's going to secure him Dragon. That's going to secure him the kills and gold, most importantly, on their 2 primary carries in Luniverse and Vel. Well played, Penn State. A little bit dicey there on the final collapse onto Neon and Vice Lele, living way longer than I think anyone anticipated. So still quite a bit of gold here onto the jungler for VCU.
You want somebody
By the
living
way.
a bit longer than anticipated?
Oh, we're not going to do the Dragon. We're going
Okay.
to push waves mid and get plates. Never mind.
Sure.
So Penn State not getting the free Dragon. We are just going. Now we're starting the Dragon. We waited for 4 seconds, so still possibly contestability here for VCU. Is Hidden Bow in the area, doesn't have the ultimate, but does have flash and the ability to stun. Hit quite a few big ones. And now teleport available.
I've seen this one before.
They grab the Dragon. Glitchy.
Okay, well,
Not too much else to get off of here. Does have the
the
Mega
sequel's
Transformation.
never
But
as good as the original.
yeah,
you know.
very nice. Penn State do get the Dragon.
Alright.
Amber TP out of the Glitchy.
We're back at Ocean Soul. Back on the Ocean Rift.
Ooh,
But,
zone away.
Ooh,
Vale in
the
trouble.
Maxwell Journey
Dodge in sleepy trouble, which, Riot
Is
in
in
the
the
wall.
map.
Bard ulti just finds Luniverse as he comes down with the teleport. So it does be a disengage now. Rook somehow lives versus Vice Lele in the 1v1. And with all that, they do zone them off quite a bit of CS, do zone them off quite a bit of gold, but they don't get any turret plates. They just burn a few summoner spells. Unfortunate there that Neon couldn't grab the bubble even for zoning because it decided to go inside the terrain, which is not intended, I assure you. However, gonna grab some plates mid lane here with the early Herald. Best able to pick that one up on one of his minions top side. And we'll
yeah,
grab them
that's
some more
really
early
good
gold.
because.
Yeah, that'll pretty much even about 1k for Penn State.
But now what happens is that the turret protection is gonna fall off in mid lane, and so if Rise leaves for just a little bit and Zoe can manage to get the wave in, Zoe can easily take that turret down on her own. As Zaya did manage to sneak in a little turret play of her own, solo in the bot lane.
Good dodge there from Luniverse as he gets sleeped and Neon gets rooted.
Poke.
No trouble bubble to follow up yet again though, so isn't that big of a problem for him. Instead, it's going to be pushing the bot river here for VCUB. Just clear out any vision. Make sure you can't see that mid lane rotation from Neon. Make sure you can't see the pathing for Vice. coming through that bot side river. Want to keep Penn State on their toes, keep them respectful of those possibilities, denying them that vision in the fact. As top side doesn't really seem to be either jungler's main focal point here.
Yeah.
So we will just get a bit of a farm up here, probably till the next objective spawns.
Yeah, that appears to be the name of the game here. Just sort of waiting until some random fight decides to break out around the objective, and then you'll see who wins those fights.
Yep.
As
Just Farfetch's
Mythics-
top lane, Zinzao spotted out here in mid. That one ward over to the side of mid wall. Gonna keep Luniverse aware so they understand where Zin's pathing. They know he's going bot side. Very nicely done here from Penn State on just
There's
keeping that
no
little
way.
bit of necessary vision.
There's no way it happens again.
He's not solo kill him here, I don't think. This is very... Yeah, I'd say he's got the movement speed. He's got at least a little bit of durability with the Sunder to heal out of this one at the very least.
There
We'll
was
have to take the
the
reset, though.
fear of it, though. The fear of getting solo killed by Malphite again. But yeah, it looks like Penn State's got the prio in the top side. So, realistically, they should take the Herald and then...
Yep,
plop
they're
that
gonna take it
Herald.
here. They're bringing Ruck up, so Herald would more than likely be the target. Now that they've swung support top
I
side.
say you take the Herald and then plop that bad boy mid lane. And then you get this rise out onto the map a bit more.
And well, they gotta take it first as the fight is certainly coming their way. Vice looking for something on a Ruck. Interesting, the mid laner is not gonna be present here. They're keeping him in the bot lane, keeping Veil company. Doesn't be careful with the Everfrost available. The root comes through. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not able to find it yet as they grab some root comes through. Trouble Bubble lands. Veil asleep. Paddlestar connects. That's a lot of damage. The healing is there. The shield bow is there.
Hello.
The splash out doesn't matter because Luniverse takes the express train bot lane. Doesn't mean they cede a lot of pride over the tail. As Ruck in trouble. Blade Caller certainly going to find its mark. The tower, just for fun, deactivated his Boon. Also in trouble. Red Smite coming down. Vice. One more Q. Can't get the next uproot, so the Ghost from Hecarim burned away. Going to grab a lot of those topside camps and more than likely the Herald as well. Before they return back down bot side. Luniverse out in the possibility of dive. Flash away, immediately respecting Vice's potency as
First
already
turret
Gore
money.
Trigger competed.
Blue team's turret.
Yeah, and first turret secured. 47 seconds as well on the Ocean Drake. Penn State needs to get a reset off so they can buy some items, heal up a little bit, and then be able to spend this gold that they have in inventory. They can go
And
set up for this fight. I'm assuredly they probably want to fight this one, but
importantly,
We'll
you
see.
still have the Malphite and the Hecarim ult up on the side of Penn State. So you can use your team fight ultimates and get the big team fight off. But you're just sort of sitting here and it's like, okay, it's a decidedly closer game than
either
I
of our
believe
first
game
two.
1 and game 2 were.
Yeah. Now you do have the issue. This game is somehow Penn State do manage to get a reset off in 40 seconds and back on the map before Ocean spawns without
Yeah.
being tested for their vision. So maybe a little bit of a sleeper from VCUB on setting up for this one. McLeish actually zoned
Call it
entirely
out.
off.
Calling out
Is-
the Gnar there, very good.
He's holding on to the Mega though, so yeah, we'll be able to get it at the very beginning of this fight. Hitting Pluto, trying to get him, and stolen
Oh.
away! Vice gets in with the E as the Bardol comes in. There's no follow-up, but they need CC
Oh,
down
what
by
a
the ulti
Gnar.
onto Ray, but it's nothing more as McLeish finds everybody on the backside. Fails, lets to watch the castle crumble, and PSU Blue are ace at 18 minutes. A beautiful team fight from the side of VCUB, and they get the Drake to boot.
It all started with that Drake steal, and then the giant Bartle in the back line, and then Gnar shows up and slams everybody into the wall there at the very end. Huge bit of communication and coordination on the side of VCU Black. And they're going to take that tier 2 mid lane as well.
Yeah, still having the L as
Open
well.
up
So
this map.
yeah, can break top lane tier 2 probably pretty easily here once this first tier 1 falls to McLeish. Falls there as well. So yeah, massive team fight victory here for VCUB. Puts them up well and truly in the lead. 3K the advantage as we're death brushing up here around Neon. Trouble Bubble on to Veil. They all come through the portal. Veil
Oh my
comes very low.
god.
Now trying to get away. Flash forward with a Featherstorm array mate. You might have one lane, my friend, but that is a 4-in-1 Zaya.
Oh,
And it
okay.
is certainly a scary thing to see.
They have Herald up still, and
Yeah,
they...
this is inhibitor. I mean, they
Oh
probably
my-
should take inhib. That's actually a bad thing, but
Eh,
they're gonna certainly get the turret. They should just abandon the Herald
Ooh.
here. Let Penn State finish that one
Mar-
off. Penn
Mar-
State should actually let it kill the turret if they. It's a little close timing, but are just going to let it do its
yeah,
thing. It looks like.
pretty
Yep,
good
they're
play.
gonna let it try to get the inhibitor, so they do want this inhibitor to fall pre-20.
Okay, so the mind games. It was
Yep,
like
this is we inject our Rise with infinite farm in safety. That's the
the
plan here right now.
Lunaverse 400 CS Rise
Yes,
pack.
Rise hack. Yeah, this is the 4 stage Rise. Now they can't let it get it. Okay, good.
Yeah,
They,
that
if they
would
can
have
get a
been-
second charge off, that is
That
really
would have been bad.
So yeah, that would have been really bad. However, they do still deal with the inhibitor being down with Baron on the map.
Yeah, that is the problem. But now we can enter the proverbial time chamber. For
Yeah, Baron not gonna be the move right now. Thought
looks
man,
like they're
with
giving it to
AED with
Ophelio,
Mr.
and they're letting Rise do the side lane instead.
Yeah, and Poon possibly caught out here. Vice Lily is 4-in-1 on the Zinzao yet again. A monster. Not raid boss yet. We're not to that level.
Not
Still
at
very,
that level.
Still very killable at this point. Trying to steal away the red. This time the smite fight goes the way of Poon.
Woo! You
We'll
smite
grab
fought
that
over
one
the
as-
red.
Yeah, but
But
now,
now
knowing
that they
Smite
see
is
you
down,
use smite, they're just like, okay,
we
Baron
go
time.
for the Baron, and Penn State not really in a position to contest this one. They see it. They know it's around 6k. Poon does have the ultimate to try to get in. Has smite available here in just a few seconds. Barlty only going to find his way on a rock. Big Leche with the stun and tries to zone away, and that's the throw up over the wall. Bootsung's already down. Rook's very low. Needs finally getting in with the ultimate, and Leche very low as well. Try to get the kill. 900 there on the
Still
Baron.
doing a
Finally
lot of
goes down. They're
damage.
going to lose 2 in the process over to Neats. So it's a Baron for 2 kills. Lunaverse can still keep pushing in the bot lane though. So Penn State, despite the disadvantage they're currently at, certainly still putting up a scary performance here.
You have
Able
to
to
flash
trade 2 back
away.
on the overcommit.
Presumably from that
The trouble
leap
hole.
over there. But luckily, they managed to force PSU managed to force VCU to not just run down the mid lane with their Baron buff, and Lunaverse is still in the proverbial side lane chamber to get some farm, and they
Trying to
do
get CS.
only lose the.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
that was
unfortunate.
a bit
Bootsung.
unfortunate.
Yeah, that's.
Let's,
yeah, you hate to see it. Unfortunately.
Especially with Ocean Dragon coming up in approximately 50 or so seconds.
I think it's back up by then. It's not that long of a cooldown from the looks of it, but never know.
It'll
Might
be
just stall
close.
out for a few seconds. Otherwise, yeah, Penn State doesn't necessarily need to fight this Drake if they don't want to. They can try to get more items on the Rise, can try to get Aphelios towards that 3rd item spec before they really contest VCU Black for really
Yeah.
anything on this map. They have the melee inhibitor still down, getting pretty much perma CS over to Vale on the Aphelios. And it's, I mean, you just couldn't look to siege down these outsides. Needs up and top lane, gonna grab that outer
They got
tier
the
1.
tier
gonna
1,
tier
that's
2,
pretty
yep.
good.
So yeah, they're just gonna
Yeah.
give this one away. I like what Penn State's doing here. They just said, hey, we don't want to fight right now. We want one more item on some of our carries, get them a little bit better chance. They're all setting up for this dragon. We see them. Let's just let them take the tier 1 bot. We get tier 1 top and try to get some damage on this tier 2. Get some more farm. Stall out for another 5 minutes and reevaluate our position at that point. They will have to get the next one because there's no way they can give an Ocean Soul for free. That would
Yeah.
be catastrophic to your playoff chances. If that's something you are still looking for. So can't really worry about playoffs until you win this game.
Yeah,
So
probably worry about the game in front of them rather than what they might do if they win this game. You have to focus on winning the game first.
yeah, and again, still just continuing to farm up. VCUB, though, pulling slowly ahead around a little bit more than a 4k gold lead now. So gold lead slightly growing as we continue onward, despite the inhibitor giving free farm over to Vale.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing the effectiveness rise 200 CS at 24 minutes. Vale as well, 200 CS at 24 minutes. Much further either than either their counterparts, but they do not have that kill gold in their pockets, such as their opponents, nor do they have that standing objective goal that they so desperately desire to really finish out in the Tier 1 mid, especially a strong sticking point for Penn State, as they cannot clear out really many of these
They
waves.
can't
keep
really
pressure.
walk forward anywhere.
Yep. And checking
'Cause-
into darkness against the Zoe is a scary,
That's,
scary thing. It might be
that's
a
a death
few days short of
sentence.
Halloween, but it's still a spook.
It's a pretty big death sentence there.
Yep.
No thresh in sight, but the Zoe
Assuming
regardless.
they're death rushing. Assuming the death as vision is toggled for them, so respawning inhibitor very shortly. They kind of understand where Neon is based on the trouble bubble positioning. And Penn State, yeah, just gonna continue to kind of chill. They'll defend their inhibitor, and I'm sure they'll fight for it, but
But it's gonna be a pretty rough fight, all things
certainly so.
considered.
Top lane though.
Unless they can like catch someone out.
Ooh, Universe. Double bubble down, ulti coming through. Good stopwatch. Barely gets damage as the fear comes through on device. He's in the backline as Neats. Also in the backline by himself, zoning the rest of the team. He's gonna go down for it as well. No,
That is-
wild growth to save, and that's a kill on the damage jungler. Array made very low. Good dodge on the blade caller as here comes the realm warp. That's a rise at once in. Shut down onto Array made. Neon finding the ulti onto 2. Neon has to flash away with the stolen summoner spell. They don't get that middle inhibitor now. Hidden bow, possibly the target for Poonsung. Looking forward on the Hecarim, has an E-charge possibly ready to go. The back, cancel on
just
Neon.
teleported
He's
down
looking
there to
for it.
stop him.
Wait, teleport, but he's gonna get chunked low here. Neon though has nowhere to go
Alright.
at the mercy of Malphite.
Slap.
Yep, and Penn State find the miracle team fight. Great ultimate on Poonsung to isolate Vice Lele, and with the front line gone, everything falls apart. Needs zones away for so long. And now Penn State find the way back in this game, only just over 1,000 gold behind.
I want
They're
to
gonna have to make
say
your way as well.
shout out to Neats doing a superhero
behind the Zoe to cancel the
ulti
defense.
into the back line to just keep them all distracted while the team focuses down the Xin Zhao that's right in front of them and managing to get out. It's Penn State are going to slowly crawl their way back into the game. It is a sub 1,000 gold lead for VCU.
Either way, though, gold lead or no gold lead, still have to be very worried about that. Drakesel coming up in a minute 30. You see the resets coming through. You see the buys coming in. 3 items on the Aphelios. We've hit the break point.
Aphelios has escaped the hyperbolic time chamber. He is
Yep,
a
he's-
stronger moon man. As
Yep.
it's
It's just going to be
Vise
the...
also almost has his Zanya's. The big stopwatch in that fight basically baited VCU to try to index super hard onto the dive there. So once Luniverse manages to get that, it's gonna be pretty big. As
Penn
T
State, though.
minus 50 seconds.
You still got to win this fight. I don't think you trade for Baron here if you're Penn State. You need to deny. I understand what they're worried about. They're worried about that Baron trade. They're worried about the rush down
God.
from the Xayah, from the Xin on this Baron buff, but they need to secure this dragon first. Ocean Soul is a Drake you cannot give up. It looks like they're not planning on it. VCU, though, not looking to give it up in earnest. They will continue to look for picks, continue to look for bubbles, continue to look around the map. Penn State rotating top side. Might look for this Baron trade after all. They're just going to clear out mid for now. Good power damage on the Needs. Push forward this mid wave. Get another set of prio. Now, pushing back in. They do not have vision control any longer in this river. Have to be extremely careful. They know where Neon is from the mid prio they've gotten before. Now they have to check into darkness, into the Drake pit, into the river. And we saw what happened the last time this happened.
Okay, Neats tanking that is fine.
Yep. Oh, is it though? As he's chunked below half. No match resist on the Malphite. Universe though.
The Universe gets caught
Hard
out there.
ulti. Val, not even finding it yet. Needs looking for the re-engage. Has to flash away from now. The Dragon's going to be started up by VCU first. It's going to go down fast if Penn State don't do something to counter. Val misses the Q. Can't get in. Needs with the engage. Finds 2. Dragon out 2,900. Big damage onto the enemy.
Zion's
Gary.
just dead.
Array mate is gone. By the backline. Veil though with the combat gun. Trying to do what he can. Trying to do damage. Polymorph is down. And it is all going PSU's way. A few kills going back over here. Courtesy of Neon. But the Dragon is theirs to lose as Luniverse continuing to walk forward. Felix on the rise, but he's checking into 3. Does he know it? Doesn't look likely as he gets drowsied up, put to sleep. Ruck flashing over. Takes the battle, sorry. gonna go down for
That
his
is,
spins. There comes the realm warp. He's gonna dump out of there, but Kusa's coming in the back line with
that's the real
Nope,
support.
Penn State
Oh
though,
my God,
overcommitting.
Penn State.
Battlestar connects, burning down the kill.
Okay, well, I mean-
Triple for McLeche, and it's the throw from Penn State. The
I
end
mean,
Universe
I
dips
don't know
out.
why everyone else went get down, Mr. President, to Looniverse when Ruck was the only one who needed to do that, but everyone else just was like, no, I'll die to keep Rise alive. No, I'll die for that. And turns out everyone died for
Rook
that.
had to die to keep Rise alive there, but Poon and Vale did not need to be trying to 2v3 that one. As Baron started up here by VCU, they are punishing the overextension of Penn State Blues resources, and therefore with Vice Lily coming in, this Baron almost surely gonna go their way, back down to
Oh, man.
76.
We really
Oh,
saved
Boone,
the
something to
Banner
think
game
of.
for the last one.
Yeah, absolutely is. Baron Nasher over for free
Second time
to
this
VCU
game.
Black.
Second to Baron of the game for VCU. As the main problem is that the last time they had Baron, they only got that tier 2 top lane. And then they had the little overextend and dive. But, so now it's going to be really important to see where they decide to allocate their Baron and what they decide to do with that. Zoe is almost at Void Staff, which is very good. Vale, or pardon me, the Looniverse. Vale has a stopwatch. Looniverse opted to sell the broken one and not go for the full lasagnas. Instead, gonna finish Banshees for the third item. Needs also got a stopwatch, very important for him. As stopwatch on Zoe and Zaya as well on the side of VCU. And it's coming down to it. It's coming down to the little things that happen in a team fight.
Yep. Now just kind of waiting. Once again, tempo over inside of VCU's court. 4K back to the gold lead, the one we had before the miracle base fight. And we're going to take down the
We might
tier
have
2
another.
lead. Yeah, as
We
Baron
could
up minions
see
are in the
another.
base. Penn State.
There
most
are a
flashes
lot
back
of
up,
Baron
cooldown. The
minions.
ult's back up cooldown. Ooh,
Uh-oh.
double hits. Hits
Oh,
as well. The block
threaded
goes
that
wide.
needle. Threaded that needle right there.
Yep.
Good bounce
Wow. Free
From the
inhibitor.
Rise.
No AD carry, no Aphelios means no base defense. The mid lane going to stand for now, but we don't know how much longer. As another Baron up wave going to be pushed down in mid here in just a few seconds.
That was a bit greedy. You could have just not gone
Yeah.
to take the Bard portal and not waste your flash, but I mean, it's a very pretty Bard portal in this game.
Either way, flash or no flash, mid lane and second inhibitor dropping over. Glitchy finally does that last lot of tech to bring it down as needs. Position to possibly look for it, but it doesn't look like Penn State
Looking
is
for
in.
something, but not much to see here.
Yeah, Penn State, I think that last fight might have had an impact as now being very trepidatious on how far they want to extend it. I mean, third inhibitor under siege now. They're going to look to the fight. They find the ultimates on to
They
the mid
just
laner. He's already
kill
down.
her.
But this is going to be a lot of time. It's Kunsung into the Sterix, into the darn ultimate, but it's only on to the back line. Now, Ludiverse and Vale need to do the damage to follow up on their front line. Flash away. Root the next perfect leads. Raymate still full HP.
Oh
Vale
my
doing a lot
God,
of
that
damage.
Aphelios
Gets the
damage.
kill with the
That
you are you
crit.
kidding me, man? And one finally falls. Ends up being a 2, for 1 in favor of Penn State. They do manage to defend their inhibitor turret, and they will
man.
stall the game out. 40 more seconds.
Zaya's
The
not going to
Ocean
have flash,
Soul.
and there's inevitably going to be a fight at this Ocean Dragon. Rise and Aphelios have hit that point where they don't care that these super minions are here. They kill them way too easily. It's all going to come down to this one, I'm thinking.
Absolutely, and Poonsung just getting back on the map, so Penn State going to be very delayed on the setup once again. Gonna have to check into Darkness. They know Zoe's back on the map as well, so Neon with an opportunity here to really come up big yet again. He found the Paddle Star onto Vale last fight. He found the chunk, and that kind of damage without the fountain healing would be absolutely catastrophic for Penn State. As Neon looking for play. They see the Zoe on vision. And
Big
Penn
thank
State
you.
going to be the ones to start it up. Again, the same position as the first fight they lost. Ludiverse coming in
We've
from the
seen
backside,
this
has the
before.
Banshee's Veil. Dragon going low. It's going to be an honorable flip. Dragon at 24 and stolen away. The Ocean Soul of VCU is now Penn State has to take the fight, but they're also on the back line. Mikalichi doing so much work, buying so much time in the front line. Penn State has their bomb. Double kill over to the array mate already. And Ruckvale maneuvers the last three containing. Takes the hit. Zarya is used by NACE and still has the second one available as a stolen one. But they're going to look for the bait
Gonna
instead.
go for mid.
Yes, they go for
can
mid.
run.
2 members on Penn State down. They
The
have
bot
the
lane's
Ocean
pushing
Soul.
up.
Yeah, Penn State has to get these recalls off. No one's seen to cancel this, so it will be one last fight for Penn State to take. Again, into the Ocean Soul. Versus 3 with no front line, no engage,
healing
no way to
reduction.
start the fight as now the Drowsy connects on to Luna's big ulti by Veldo. Finds so much damage. Taken very low though. Starleague going onto the back line. The healing not enough though. He's chunked low as well. Luna versus Veldo so much damage. And they find a kill to trade for Ruck. Now the disengage seems to be the plan for VCUB as they will back out of the base, content with the Ocean Soul steal. And a huge ulti from Hidden Bow able to secure that trade.
Yeah. Literally threaded the needle between hitting the Hecarim and avoiding the dragon. And it lets Nara just walk up and say, thank you very much. We will take this Ocean Soul, put it into our pocket. And no one on Penn State's got healing reduction yet. So that Ocean Soul is going to do miles and miles of work for them.
Yeah, Penn State for the last several minutes has not been able to find a clean teamfight initiation. They're getting stunned up on the back line, getting stalled out. So the front line not doing the work. And again, you have these disengage tools from a Raymate. This AD carry, Xayah, loves it when you come into her. So just kind of playing into the hands of VCUBs thus far. They're trading about as well as they can, but it's a lot of times in the aftermath when one team overextends, one team overcommits. As Bard ulti used onto Veil. There comes Leaf Trouble. Not going to find him on the aftermath. There's teleport coming in from NACE as well. This is going to be the fight to end it all. As there comes NACE onto the backline. They're going to find the mid laner immediately. Veil on the killing spree as VCU going in. They still have to deal with the Ocean up. Nara finds ulti on the 2. Sterix pops up. There's a gargoyle trying to buy some time. Sterix on a McLeche, but NACE just will not die. Ocean Soul be damned.
That's 20 chakrams.
And now, Realm Warp in the back. Not going to be able to cut them off just yet. They haven't retreated thus far. They're still in their jungle. And Penn State somehow get out where they win this far, but they have to answer midway before that inhibitor is under siege from a last super minion wave.
Oh my
He's going to take the reset to do it. Doesn't have the TP anymore, so can't get back to this fight just yet. Vice, Lele, and Array Mate still able to set up around this Baron. Penn State are the ones who have to be careful. TP in for Mikleche. They're going to start this one up. Baron is around. They do not have the mid lane. 13 seconds still on the Zoe. Penn State, 5 members strong, but they do not have the Malphite. They do not have the unstoppable force. Baron tagged. They got the vision. 4,800 down. Poon not in the area just yet. Can go over the wall.
Okay.
Instead, the Baron can go over with P. Penn State will stand and watch it fall with no contest. Not confident without the initiation from Poon and needs to take that one. And now all that remains known is that this is a very tight game going into 40 minutes, and one strong team fight will just end the match. Veil and Luniverse, the shining hopes for Penn State. Vice, Neon, and Array Mate, their opposing counterparts, have to make this work. You have Elder in 2 minutes time. Full builds on one
Surely
of the
the
80
Elder
carries.
Dragon is going to be the end of this game. Surely. One way
Surely.
or another. One
The
team
Ocean
is
Soul
going...
hasn't ended it, but you know.
Well, it's also Elder Dragon. You know? It's the end-all, be-all.
It is a Baron push down mid. They're going to look to try to get... VC is going to look to try to get some of these inhibitors out before this Elder spawns. They still got a minute 50. They want that mid power. They want to be able to force down some of these inhibitors to try to open up the base, force PSU to defend, and not be able to push out into their own jungle to get vision. So will be the mid lane targeted now. Bot lane not yet pushed in. They're going to commit 5 members strong, walking around, making sure no one gets picked off. Any deaths here with these kind of death timers in this kind of game are catastrophic to either side. Next wave escorted here up, meet the inhibitor. The siegers though aren't yet there to enact any type of long range damage. Raymate has to stay back a little
Big
bit for
little
now,
bounce there.
as wave is just gonna be cleared off by Ryze and Aphelios. There's really no way you can push onto these guys
Yeah.
with the kind of wave clear they have, but they're gonna continue to try till that Elder spawns again. 1 minute left till an end game buff. Penn State, they've been fighting into Ocean Soul, they've been fighting into gold deficits, but they cannot fight an Elder. No team effectively can, unless you've already killed everybody before you secure the Drake.
Yeah, unless there's only one person left alive, and it's like Bard.
Dead. It's a death ball. It's chunked down quite a bit.
Electrocute with the Void Staff
Third
and
of
the
his HP.
Horizon Focus is pretty dangerous.
Third of his HP, and now again 30 seconds on the Elder. Penn State cannot get out of their base. They cannot check into the enemy jungle, and it's just gonna continue to be this game of cat and mouse. VCU, full priority and ability to do whatever they so want. Is Poonsung chunk low, has to use the ultimate defensively to get away. Vale pick
Oh my
up, finds
God.
a kill with just the ultimate as he's going for the engage. Vale still alive for now, but it's
What a
disengaged back
flash.
Luber's in the backline trying to get away. Ruck is already down. Vale still with the GA trying to get away. Neon is also down and he's still in the front line. It's an even fight. Are you kidding me? After how they started, Penn State fighting for their lives. Realm Warp coming in. Vale go to grab it just at the last time.
Surprise.
Leche down and dusted.
Oh my God.
Nowhere to go, and Penn State finds a massive team fight victory at the tail end of this game. Importantly though, Vice Lele still alive. This man won smite fights when there's a smite to contest, but the Elders
There's
stop
no
before
way
he
you're
can get
getting
there.
there.
Penn State Blue
Aphelios is
get
on
a 40-minute
green, white
Elder
sun.
Drake.
Can we just talk about how 200 years is not talk about the gameplay years of Aphelios' design? It's about the amount of years he needed to scale. He literally one-shot the Zaya there. And then his flash to get out of the Gnarl and him and Luna first is still killing everybody in that fight. The reaction time needed to do that was insane. And
I mean, now the game's not going to end because we have an
Okay,
Elder
well, now
on 3
no
members
one's
of
gonna
Penn.
end the-
Yeah, now we have an Elder.
oh my god.
VCU still in the driver's seat. They can fight whenever they darn well please. So Penn State gonna be in a little bit of a tough spot. They can't really force this on Baron. It doesn't spawn for another 2 minutes. They're just gonna have to kind of get as much wave priority as they can in top and bot and mid, and force the enemy team out of ways. They're again. It's a really you can't really do much here with the Elders. Penn State. You don't really have the force.
You can threaten. See, Vale should be keeping his green gun at as much ammo as possible, because then you can snipe someone and then you're at full build Aphelios. That will deal a lot of damage coupled with the
They will
Elder
force
Dragon
down
burn.
tier 2 mid lane finally at 41 minutes in, and Vale does quite a bit of damage to structure at this point, so might look forward. Gets hit by that sleepy trouble bow though. This might be the engage
Get
point
down,
for
Mr.
VCU.
President.
Root comes through, has to burn the heal immediately. As still
I like
going
Gravity Gun
through.
here. Gravity Gun here is going to be really good if Vale can keep it around.
Yeah, Elder still up on these members. They want to try to siege out this inhibitor, but they do not have that Baron buff, so it's so hard for Penn to look. And even if they can find a team fight with the Elder, you're diving onto
Double,
an
double
Ocean
goes
Soul
to the
team.
Vantage, Vale.
Instead, they're going to look for this inhibitor, and it looks like VCU are going to give it up without a fight. They do not want to fight this Elder. They do not want to flip the game for no reason. And Penn State still looks to force further. They want this fight so
They
bad.
want
They do
this
not want to
game
go
over,
for
but
another
they
fight in the
can't
ocean.
force it.
Yeah.
Because if they force wrong, they lose.
VCU playing this one as smart as they possibly can, not getting baited into the alpha, not getting goaded into initiating onto a losing fight. Now, Penn State actually do have the gold lead, but at this point in the game has been pretty much dead even there in about. Still have the Ocean Soul as well at their disposal. Such a powerful boon at this point in the game. Penn State really no way to counter it. The Elder Dragon now worn away and gone. Vision down
we're-
for the side of VCU, and
We
we're going to
return
go
to
for...
the scene of several crimes.
Oh no, it's the NA Baron flip,
We
baby. It's
return.
that time of the game.
We're back, baby!
It's the 5 stack for VCU. They got to check into Penn State this time. The roles are reversed as the Baron is gone. There's no steal, as well as the Realm Warp
Okay,
gets everybody up for free. Poonsung as well
guess-
gets away. Hidden Bow goes over the wall, but he's checking into the entirety. Penn State teammate is gone. The support is no more. Penn State find a pick and a kill, and now the pings are into the base. They might look to try to end the game on this very wave. Need's gonna back and probably finish his item and then teleport back to the wave. Luniverse as well. For the rest of Penn State, yep, it is the death push. 40 seconds still on Hidden Bow. Blade Caller gonna chunk down Ruck a little bit, but it's still just the Lulus. Boots on Yark still pushing into the enemy base. Nicolethe, no Mega just yet, needs a lot of time. But
Oh my
Bootsung already
God.
popped the stairs. Neon does so
That
much damage.
root would
But
have
so
been-
does Luna versus
Wow.
McLean. Almost gone as well. Veil getting checked very low. Here comes the engage zone. NACE trying to one-shot Neon. Can't get just yet. The ulti hits the Crescent Guard and it does nothing. Veil though still gets shut down.
Oh my.
Onto one goes Godlike. Lunaverse though picked as well, so it's only one carry up for Penn State thus far.
But it's the Felios, dude.
Still alive, has the GA pop. Sleep hits on and needs, manages to cleanse it away with the Michaels from Ruck, and they're just gonna look for the end. Has to full hit as the part ulti comes through. On to Veil. The main tank is main damage is down. Nar cannot find the ultimate jet, but the stun comes through. GA pop. It's 3 versus 2. Another GA gonna go into it as well. Veil cannot do it. It's the shutdown on the one. Pootsung York with nowhere to go.
Oh my god.
And 44 minutes into the game, Penn State cannot make it happen. And 50-second death timers on everybody. Lunaverse up in 20, but it might not darn well matter. They gotta push through one more wave of supers. They will be on to the inhibitor turns. VCU Black. It looked good, it looked bad, it looked dreary, and they have come back
wild.
again. As yep, inhibitor number 1, the focus. They have no wave just yet, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. Can Penn State rally defense? Needs up in 13 seconds. Lunaverse under the Nexus turrets. One of them already down. The ulti not gonna land as Vice Lele going in. Chugs extremely low by Lunaverse, who does so much damage to the point, but can't defend. Bradley comes down. Stun comes through. Sleep is on. Lunaverse gets buffed up by the wild growth, but he's stunned up yet again. Finally goes low as McLeach's into Sonya's. Ruck and NACE, the last hopes for Penn State. McLeach is still on the backside. It's an ult from NACE on an am, but he can't kill him. The Ocean Soul.
Everyone's alive.
Veil is back up. Boone is back up. Veil finds the kill on a Vice. Array Maid finally joins the fray, but it's a little bit too late to finish it. Penn State holds on. This game will not end. The respawns come through the fight as fails, and we have Elder in 26 seconds.
I'm going insane.
Oh, Pootsung though might look for the fight beforehand.
Oh my.
Decides to disengage. Game hanging on a hair's thread. An open Nexus for Penn State. One Nexus turret remains for VCU, and Penn State don't look like they want to take this to another. They're going to try to take the fight, but Veil drowsied up.
Protect Mr. President.
The root. There's no GA. He's shut down.
Poseidon's dead now.
Limp away, but NACE gonna be left to pay for their sins. It's the overcommit. It's the overstay. The Elder's still available, but there's no one there for Penn State to claim it. And inbound Neon can push on to Pootsung. One paddle star, and this horse is dead. Lunaverse is up, has the rumble to try to get in onto this Elder Drake, but Vice is also up in 7 seconds. Only the 80 carry is down. And now Penn State have to contest the Elder.
Do you believe in miracles?
This would be a miracle. They're all grouping up for this rumble. You have to believe there's no way. But Penn State is just going to give the Elder Dragon 7k down. No contest from Pootsung, and with an open Nexus, Penn State will have to look to hold at 50 minutes into the game against Elder Ocean Souls with an open Nexus.
This is real League of Legends right here. No. Oh my lord.
And now Penn State has to weather a brutal 4 minutes, I believe, at this point in the game of Elder Drake buff. With the Ocean Soul in fights they were already barely hanging on in. It is a knife's edge of a game, and it will be the Group 5 mid. They might just look to end it again. Open Nexus, nothing to stop them. The mid inhibitor still down. They can just force the fight onto Penn State. There is nothing that they can do to avoid this one. No turrets to hide behind, no structures to siege.
I don't know what
Elder Ocean versus nothing. Full builds on everybody at 47 minutes and 29-26 into kills. One open Nexus remains, and it's going to be the fight to start.
What's going to happen?
Already taken into the bubble. Gets knocked down. Gets the 3-man ultimate though. As here comes the Bellies. They're going to try to fight it before the Elder can go in. 2 Zonias and Narlos come out from Rook and Kai, but there's no way that Penn State is coming out of this one. Lunaverse gets knocked up. Shut down Veil, the last bastion of hope. Sneaks there as well, but they're going to just full hit the Nexus. And VCU, in one of the wildest games I have ever cast, are going to take the series 50 minutes in, 2-1. 2 Elder Drakes in. They're going to push themselves to playoffs.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh my lord. That was 48.5 minutes of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in a double Elder Drake game. And VCU comes out on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, excellent. I can't say excellently played in good heart. Well fought, I can say in good heart, because neither of these teams giving even an inch. Both of them fighting as hard as they could to win this game, and eventually VCU end up getting it right. The overcommit from Penn State just before the Elder. 2 members go down. Poon cannot contest. Ends up having Penn State forced on. And while I believe Penn State Blue not out of playoffs just yet, still have some chances. That is a loss that has got to hurt. Either way,
That
GG,
was
well played to both of these
crazy.
teams for a heck of a series. But we are going to turn over as Penn State White is being casted live onto CSL. We're going to host it here on Penn State League stream. So that's all we have for you guys tonight.
Games
Again,
all
thank you.
around.
Thank you very much for staying tuned for this absolutely
Dude.
wild ride. And we'll catch you guys next time later this week back on the Rift.